Hello, friends. Hi. People already in the room. I love it. How we doing? Hello. Resale Goddess. Hello, Vintage Glam Mom. Foothills Cottage. Hi, Steph. It was fun to raid you. Jackie, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome in. How are you doing? It is 7:30 in the morning. 7:30 in the morning. Hi, welcome in. Oh, I'm so glad. I know. Same, girl. Same. But I have my coffee. And I'm drinking warm coffee today, so I'm gonna get... It's 9:30. I love it. You're East Coast, alright? How's everyone doing? Welcome. This is my weekly Q&A. I will be doing them Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And yeah, I've got... Sorry, my cart is like, how's everyone doing? Come on in. Welcome. This is a Q&A for all live sellers, whether you sell on Poshmark or if you sell on Depop, or we just all resellers, all live sellers in general. Welcome in. Hi, Lauren. Hello. Hi, Shayna, Lynn. If this is your first time here, this is my 4th Q&A, and we just chit chat about live sales. I've been on the app for 3 years, and I've done almost 33,000 sales. I think I'm gonna hit 33,000 this week, which is awesome. And I've been I was a traditional reseller for 4 years, so a total of 7 years I've been a reseller. So we can talk about live sales, we can talk about traditional reselling, or like if you just have questions for me, that would be, yeah, so exciting. I am super grateful for this app. I will tell you that much. Oh man. Dang it. I was like, I'm gonna put my perfume on my sweatshirt, and I freaking, look what I did. Dang it. I was clean, I swear. But so yesterday we were talking about a lot of different things, but I was touching base on the super fan sequence. Yeah. At least that smelled good. I was touching on the super fan sequence, which is something my husband brought to my attention. I wasn't aware of the super fan sequence until my husband was like, hey, this is what it is. And I feel it's entirely applicable to what it is that you are doing in live sales. I need more coffee. I can't even talk. I literally was like putting on makeup and then like hit live. I haven't said any words today. This is the first time I've used my vocal cords. And don't sleep on Maverick coffee, all right? It's so good. So I'm just gonna kind of go over the super fan sequence one more time. So if you missed it yesterday, this is what the super fan sequence is. I don't think I'm gonna be able to put it in the chat. Maybe I can. Let's see if I can. But essentially this is the sequence your buyers go through in order for them to consider buying from you and becoming a super fan. So someone who is a super fan is someone who will come to every single one of your shows. They will refer you to other people, and it's not gonna let me do it. So let me just delete all this. And it is the sequence you want to take people through so that they are like, I am going to come back to this show. Not only that, I'm going to share it with my friends and my family. So Number one, this is the process that your buyer is going to go through. The reason why this is so important, you guys, is because you need to understand the mindset of what it is that you're doing. You are trying to get super fans. You are trying to get people to come back to your show. Not trying to get the most out of every item. You're trying to get that LTV, lifetime value of a customer, up so high that these people come back to you again and again and again, and they spend thousands of dollars, which is so much more of a return on investment than trying to get $70 for a authentic Gucci blouse. All right. So the first step in the superfan sequence is awareness. They see your show poster. They're like, ooh, this intrigues me. Number two, discover. They click on your show poster and they go in and they're discovering who you are. Number three is consideration. All right. Consideration can be anywhere from 3 seconds to over a year. So consideration can take a long time for some of your buyers. That's why having longevity in your mindset is so important. If you're super focused on how much revenue you're making and how many people are in the room, you're going to lose sight that you might have a viewer who isn't going to buy from you for 6 months. But if you show up and you're upset about the bidding, you're upset about items going for super low, and you don't have that long-term mindset in mind, you could lose that customer from consideration. They're just sitting there waiting to be like, should I buy from them? Is this person someone who is someone that I resonate with? So that's number three. Number four is conversion. This is where your buy also. Whoever put a question in, I'm going to scroll back. As soon as I'm done with this, I'll scroll up and answer that because it looked like a really good question. So conversion, this is where they move from consideration to taking action, whether that is swiping to go to purchase something or they purchase something. Okay. Then once they do that, you're developing a relationship with that buyer. So the process you take them through from their purchase to them receiving their package is the relationship that you have. Granted, they can come in and honestly form a relationship with you even after they get their package. But just keeping in mind that shipping and the way that you ship and what it looks like is super important for your buyer. Okay. And then you have number 6, which is retention and referral, meaning they're going to come back to you. Not only are they going to come back, watch and purchase, but they're going to tell their sister, they're going to tell their mom, they're going to tell other people on the app, they're going to share your live stream. That is where the momentum happens. So you're trying to take your buyer from step number 1, which is awareness, all the way to retention and referral. When you have that in mind, you are so welcome. You are so welcome. If you guys want to take, oh, it's backwards, huh? But essentially, this is the superfan sequence. I'm pretty sure you can flip the mirror image in iTunes, or in Apple, but maybe not. So understanding the sequence that you're taking your buyer through is so important. You showing up as you will greatly increase the possibility of them purchasing from you. That is why my husband and I are like, you need a process. You need a step-by-step process that you are taking your customers through every single show. Okay? Because, okay, it wasn't backwards? Cool. You guys can screenshot this. It is it's such a game changer, because you're gonna focus less on how do I get a buyer right now? How do I make this show right now successful? And what most people think live sales success is high revenue. And that isn't the case. Success in live sales is having repeat buyers. All right? Your goal is to get super fans. It is to take them all the way through this sequence and help them understand that you are not trying to get the most out of every item. When you do that, your customer, I guarantee it, I go into lives all the time. My husband and I are studying lives every single day, and we are trying to understand what works and what doesn't. And most of the time, if you care about how much your item goes for, it shows all over your face, and people do not like it. They don't like it. They're not going to come back. You're not going to have that retention rate because they're going to be like, I don't want to go to this show where they are, are screaming, bid it up, chat, bid it up. Okay, Steph says, what decisions or strategies do you think make the biggest difference in scaling your business from a side hustle to a full-time successful operation? What a question. That's amazing. That's a great question. Look at that. Beautiful. I would say the number one thing is understanding LTV. That was my goal. Is understanding LTV. I know. Or when they call their chat. Those are real people that you can truly connect with and really make a difference in their life by knowing their name. I know. Some people love it though. It works for some people. Also, I want to put a disclaimer that this strategy is not for everyone. It is not. I am not trying to say that this is the only way to live sell. What I am trying to say is my husband and I have coached live sellers for over 2 years. I've been on the app for 3 years, and we have literally studied this for years and been like, why does this work? What are the systems that help this work? And our goal is to take someone who is brand new and give them a manual and be like, if you do this, 3 months from now, you're going to have 30 people in your show. If you do this 6 months from now, you're going to have 60 people in your show. Okay? I had 95 people in my binge show yesterday. That's because of consistency, because I understand the superfan sequence. And here's the thing. When you're thinking about the superfan sequence, the number one goal for you is to truly care. That's it. Like, if you show up and you genuinely care about your customers and your buyers, they're going to come back. And that can look like so many different things, okay? That can look like for example, in one of my shows, and Steph, this goes alongside with scaling your business. I know it sounds like, I feel like sometimes when we look for tactics and strategies, we think it's outside of us, okay? We think it's outside of us, therefore we immediately go into analysis paralysis, and there's some sort of strategy tactic that I need to do to be able to scale my business. I promise you, if you focus on the superfan sequence and you have a process in your business, you will be able to scale to be able to make it a full-time gig. Consistency and caring about your buyers and improving every single show. If you're not self-reflecting every single show, you are not going to see or value the changes that you could make. A lot of times, people approach live sales as something that is so personal. They take it so personal. I don't want you to take it personal. I want you to be a scientist, okay? I want you to take your market data, which is what your customers are telling you through their bids. What are you learning from show to show, all right? And I want you, and welcome Marsha. Thank you for joining the live through a shared link. So if you are focused on having a process, okay? I'm talking, every step that you are doing within your business, all right? I have a model that I want you guys to write down, all right? It is the best thing that my husband ever gave me, because it helped me understand what part of my business am I in when I'm doing a certain task, all right? So my husband came up with this. He's so gifted, you guys. Like, I can't even tell you, this man's brain is exceptional. And the way that God speaks to him is so vast that most people would be greatly intimidated if they just heard like a centimeter of his thoughts. Like, he'll just say shit to me and I'm just like, what? Okay, I'll do it, but like, that is not how my brain works, like, whatsoever. But he thought of this, okay? He loves, thank you so much. He is my, I am so fond of him. I'll just say that. Okay, so what I love about Steven is he cares about you guys understanding this. So he literally made it all S's. Like, he was thinking about, how do I make this sticky? How do I get people to make this sticky? So this is the 5S model. My husband sometimes calls it the 5S model, and then sometimes he calls it the 5S cycle. So we kind of just call it both. In the 5S cycle, this is the cycle that you go through every single show, all right? One show. This is a show cycle, right? So, number one, you're going to go out and you're going to find your inventory. You're going to go source. You're going to go, if you make handmade goods, if you are an upcycle, if like whatever you do, you go and you source, whether that's thrifting or whatever. I know, Noelle, I'm very grateful. Okay, I love it. I love it. I'm so glad. You guys, we're going to kick our booties into gear. My husband needs to be in here teaching you guys because he has such a gift for it. I want to see if he's in here. Are you in here? Nope. Okay. Then once you source, you stage. People do not do this. Okay. I love you. He's here. He's here, people. Well, we really need to get you up and moving and doing classes because you have a gift for this and you can do way better than I can. Okay. Staging. As someone who is a live seller, this is the most underrated step in the process. Okay? If you just do this, shut up. You need to get up. You should get up and go get some coffee. The kids won't be awake for like an hour, 2 hours. Staging. I want you to think of staging as like refining and beautifying what you are about to show your audience. Okay? If you were someone that was going to a show, you're not going to a live. We don't call it a live, we call it a show. Like, I want you guys to start thinking about every show being a production. If you've been to my Fancy Find show, that show takes me all week long to set up for. Okay, my husband is the staging process. He does all of my staging. There are certain aspects of my business that I love. Like, I love shipping and I love staging. But my husband's like, you can't do everything. You need to outsource the things that you are not innately good at. So I'm a sourcer, I'm a live seller, and I love doing those things, and that is where my skill set lies. If you guys stage, okay? If you guys stage, if you lint roll, you steam, you sequence, you set up your studio, staging is every visual aspect of your show, including yourself. So think about your background, think about your music, think about your lighting, think about your makeup. What are you wearing? If you go to a live, like say you guys came to this live and I didn't have any makeup on, I looked disheveled, don't just disregard my dirty sweatshirt. But if I showed up just disheveled, half-assed, you would be like, I'm not gonna listen to you. Why would I listen to you? Like, what sort of value do you have to give? You need to make sure that you show up. Every part of your show is thought of. Your makeup, your lighting, your music, your background, your system of how you're going to run your show. What will you guys put in the chat? What do you sell? I want to know, like, I just want to make sure that I'm making references to everything. What do you sell? Do you sell clothes? Do you sell jewelry? Do you sell antiques? Do you sell women's vintage and contemporary clothing? Okay, women's clothes. Put it in the chat. Participation. All of you get an A. Okay, Chrissy, love it. I'm so glad you're here, Chrissy. Clothes. Okay, yeah, I sell everything. I love it. She's like, I'm a dream catcher. I catch it all. Okay, kids' clothes. I want to do children's clothes, but my one women's show did better. I sell everything, thrift items, books, jewelry. Okay, so I'm obviously a clothing seller, so most of my analogies and like everything that I talk about is more around clothing, okay? But it's just take what you do and put your specific spin on it. You did? Okay. I will go back up in just a minute and I will see. Mostly women's clothing, but added some home decor, oddities, accessories, shoes, etc. I sell everything. I do stage. Okay. So for everyone who's saying that you do everything, you really need to niche down. And the only reason listen, you can sell everything. All right. It's not that you can't sell everything. It's that right now you need to pick one thing and get really good at that one thing. Because if you're doing books and you're doing jewelry and you're doing clothes and you're it's too much for your brain to be like, what is the process for books? What's the process for jewelry? What's the staging for this? Oh, I'm doing a kid's show on. Listen, I'm able to do 3 binge shows a week, a fancy find, and then a kid show because I have experience and I've built the skill set to be able to do so. But if you're like, I sell everything, you need to pick one. And you need to do that one thing for at least 3 months. Do a show. Steven, I don't know if you're driving or whatever, but I wish you had a phone stand because then I could just have you come into the call. But what do you say about people who sell everything? My husband does have different thoughts on this. So, staging. Whether you are doing clothes or jewelry or whatever, if you stage, you will automatically be a level up on whatnot. Automatically. If you are someone that's like, it's not a competition, I'm so sorry, but I want to be the freaking best live seller on whatnot. That is my goal. Like, hands down, no matter what category you are buying from, you know MGV, you know Making Grace Vintage. Like, I'm in this to freaking win. And if you think that you don't have competition, you are sadly mistaken. And with where live sales is going, live sales is the new influencer. Live sales is the new YouTuber. Live sales is the new TikTok influencer. Like, brands are going to be hitting live sellers up like crazy because we have the ability to bring immediate sales to brands. I don't need a code. I don't need a QR code. I don't need an email subscription. I don't need any of that. I can take whatever you have and bring it to my audience and sell it. So be mindful that this isn't just like, oh, I'm going to do live sales. Like, freaking do it. Get in there and do it. Really think about it, because this is life-changing money. Millions of dollars. Millions. And if you start now and you have a process and you care about your customer and you're doing staging, I promise you, you will set yourself up for so much success, you won't even know what to do with it. Okay? Staging. Think about the whole thing. Think about it. What does it look like? What does it sound like? You should be using rehearsal mode. If you don't know where rehearsal mode is, just go to Whatnot Support, type it into Google, and it will show you how to do it. Also, sorry, I was supposed to say this in the beginning of the show. There are things in my buy it now. All right? We have the Live Seller Pro playbook. It's $20. Everything that I'm talking about is broken down into digestible diagrams and sequences of how to do these things. The 5S model is completely broken down. We break down live sales versus traditional reselling to help you with your mindset. It's $20. All right? That is item number 1. Item number 2, we have 5 show audits. Show audits are going to be a more in-depth look at one of your shows, okay? I'm thinking I may want it to be anonymous, so you're not like worried about us coming in and, you know, struggling to like perform. We want to come into your show and get the genuine vibe of the show. Essentially, what we're going to do is look at your studio, look at your lighting, look at how you present your items. We're going to break down essentially everything that you do in your live show and send you a detailed printed report. Okay, so it will be printed. You will have something tangible to be like, oh, these are the things that they saw that I need to work on, okay? And then if you guys are interested in being like, I want to re-watch this live sale, you can just order a coffee. This is what all Whatnot users used to do, or sellers in the very beginning of the app was like, buy me a coffee. I will most likely send you like a pamper pouch or like something to get the label to you. But this is more along the lines so you can watch this show back and you can, thank you so much. Thank you. So you can watch the show back so that you have all of the teaching content on here. Okay. The live stream does expire after 60 days. All right. So if you buy a coffee, you will only have the live stream for 60 days. So be mindful of that. Okay. Let me go back up to see what the question was about your inventory, and then I'm going to get to the other questions. Yes, Miss Freebird, I need to start writing names down for my repeat customers. I'm so bad at names. I used to think I was bad at names, and then I got into live sales and I literally can remember everyone's names. Okay, it is a skill set. It's something you can totally learn. And all I do is every time I get a new buyer, every single time, okay, they will buy something and I will click on their name, and then I will go to their profile and I will see if their name is there. So Marsha, her name is Marsha, which is fitting. And then I will follow them. Okay, so then that way, when you click this little button up here, you can see what friends are in your show, you know? So I just use that feature of just looking at their profile and remembering their names. And then when I do shipping, I will look at their screen name and then look at their name on their label. do that while you're shipping and you'll start to remember your buyers' names. Okay, I didn't see the way you talk about your honey. Okay, we did that. When I have makeup and a fit on, it makes a difference in my performance as well. Totally. Thinking about all of that is why I haven't started. Sylvia, analysis paralysis is a real thing. But if you purchase the playbook is a great foundational read. You guys, it would take you like 45 minutes to read. It's not like this lengthy, crazy book. And my husband put diagrams. He put very easy, digestible analogies for you to really set yourself up for success. All right. So if you're like brand new and you haven't started, it does not go over shipping. It does not go over shipping. Shipping is kind of one of those things that's too nuanced, and it's too difficult to cover every aspect of shipping in like a book. But we've done shipping classes before, and maybe we'll do that again soon, because I know shipping's a really big deal for some people. Okay. I'm working on a women's fall show. I have a lot of Stevie Nicks style clothes. I love that. You should brand it like Stevie Nicks. Okay, what do I do with that? What do you want me to do with that? Share a link. I can't get the link to them though. Also, customers that are well versed in that niche can tell if you don't really care about it. Totally. That is a really good point. And people who are well versed in certain niches, it's on Google, I know that, but I don't know how to do that. Thank you so much for the purchase. I really appreciate it. And you guys will get something in the mail. It's probably just going to be like a face mask or an eye mask or something. But this is just so you can watch your show back, the coffee fund. Okay. But there's other products in the bin. The playbook is $20. It's always been $20. So, just a really easy purchase, and it's a great investment for you and your business. That's what I'm thinking. Let's go. Thank you so much. Also, if you're looking for a show audit, that's also in there. That's $50. We do have to charge a bit more because it's our time, and most likely Steven and I are going to be doing it at separate times, so he's gonna have to do it and then I'm gonna have to do it. But it's really, really valuable to have another set of eyes. If you watch your show back, you should watch your show back if you're not doing that. Staging the mannequin, rack, and background, right? Yes. Freebird, when you are thinking about staging, you want everything to look pristine. Like, Steven literally stages to the max. Like, every item that is steamable, he steams. Every item is lint rolled. Every item, they cut the tags off. He is deeply involved with the whole staging process, and the idea is so that when you show up on camera, you've done the work for your customer to be like, holy crap, that is amazing. You know, that's what you're going for. You don't want to be someone who sits on their couch and pulls shit out of a box. Like, be someone who is actually thinking about the process of what it is that they're doing, and you're going to refine that over time, and you're going to get better and better and better. All right. What is your audio setup? Having trouble hearing my music. Lauren, I use a Alexa, like an Alexa Dot, and I just play it in the background. I make sure it's not too loud, but loud enough that they can hear it. Sometimes finding that balance is kind of hard, but I've realized recently that, like, if I just leave the shipping setting or the sound setting as it is, then I'm good to go. You just really have to figure it out once. I definitely rehearsal mode each time before I go into my show. It will really help you. It will help you be, also another thing is like seeing yourself on camera can sometimes be really uncomfortable. So getting yourself into rehearsal mode and checking your lighting. Do you have shadows? Is there a glare? Is there a cast? Like, be aware of what it visually looks like for your customer, and people will stay. I sell crystals, plushes, and clothes. I stage and only sell on certain days in each categories, and buyers know what days to come in to my shop. 121. Yeah, girl, you got 3,000 sales. You good. You can do whatever you want. You can't do whatever you want, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you have 3,000 sales. If you're at 3,000 sales, you can do multiple different shows. I'm saying if you're brand new and you're like, I'm between show 1 and show 20 or show 1 and show 30, you're going to need to niche down, pick one, get really good at that one, and then start branching out. I have 20 shows now, and I think it would be better if I sold just one thing. Totally, Jackie. Niche it down to what, don't just look at profit. You also need to look at what do you enjoy? What is longevity? What is something that you love to sell over and over and over again? Okay? For me, it was women's clothing. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Does the playbook go over shipping? It does not. You're so welcome. But we do have a shipping masterclass on video. It's just so hard to sell like digital products on Whatnot because I can't send you a link. I could send you a QR code in the mail. How do you package when you ship? Do you add a card, or what would you add to entice buyers to come back? I don't add anything. I did that over the years with Poshmark, eBay, Etsy, and it was never fruitful. They just throw it away. It's more waste. My son makes the box. He neatly folds the clothes, puts them in the box, and then we just lay a piece of tissue paper on top. That is it. I don't do anything. The items will speak for itself. Okay, if you are providing a good service and a good product, that will speak for itself. And if you take the time and the intention to do your shipping well, make sure it's presentable, that you're not just shoving clothes into a box and shipping it to them. Think about when they open the package, what is it going to make them feel? What do they visually see? So be really aware of that. I am a big stickler for making sure that you're shipping your items well and that it's just not thrown in there. That's the very last step in the conversion process, and the retention rate, and the last step in the superfan sequence is greatly determined by that last like breath of the experience, which is the package. Okay. Well, thanks for dangling the carrot, Steve. I have been on 6 months, still haven't been able to get a lot in my room, like no more than 6. My staging and lighting is good. I watch other shows too. Renee's Closet. I would watch your own show. Are you engaging on camera? Are you speaking with the people on the chat? A lot of times people who have 6 people in their room and they've been doing this for 6 months, I think that is a mindset issue, because I think when you have a consistent low viewership, you start to expect that. Therefore, that is what will show up. So I think mindset wise, it needs to be done that you understand, how do I get my mindset to wrap my mind around 20 people in my room? Because most likely, if you had 20 people in your room, your nervous system is going to go, and it's not going to show up. Okay? So my husband and I have been learning so much about the nervous system. Thank you so much, Honey Fern. Also, if you guys purchase a coffee fund, you're gonna get like a small little gift in the mail. I have to send you something like physical with a label. But this is if you purchase a coffee, that way you can watch this show back. Okay. But if my husband and I have learned so much about the nervous system and the subconscious mind. If you don't think that those two things affect your live shows, you're sadly mistaken. And understanding how to train those is so important. We're currently learning that, but I can tell you right now, having 95 people in my show was because I was actively working on my nervous system. Thank you so much, Bella. And actively being prepared to be grateful for 95 people in my show. When you're actively looking for an outcome and you're already grateful for it showing up, it's gonna show up. Okay, so if you're sitting with 6 people in your show, you might need to do a little subconscious work or a little work on your mindset to help you understand how to get yourself okay with 20 people in your show. Okay, but Renee, if you've been doing this for 6 months, you need to watch your show back and you need to look at everything. What is your tonality like? What is your pacing of your words? Yeah? Yes! Did it work? Sometimes we couldn't get this. Well, hello!
Hi.
Hi.
I haven't said words today, and I'm driving, so this is morning time, Steve.
Well, you look great.
Oh, thank you. Hi,
Also, you
everyone.
guys can swipe the chat out of the way if you want to see his face. You can also click on the side here where it says swap. You can swap us. So if one of us is talking and you want to be able to see the chat and us, you can just hit swap. What do you have to say, baby?
I don't know. I just want to hang out with you.
Okay. Okay, let me scroll back up.
Oh, I do want to say something.
Okay.
Because Renee's closet. If you guys are stuck in like low viewership, go through and look at some of the things that I see in shows are and this may not apply to you, but look at how you present items as well and look at your pacing. So I'll cover each one of those real quick. So how you present items, don't read it off like it's an eBay listing where you're just like, this is an Eileen Fisher blue cashmere sweater. It's a size medium, and here's the pit to pit. When you just give just the details of the item without giving any sort of anything else behind it, you're relying entirely on the product, and it doesn't sell that way. Number two is pacing. So how do you quickly do you move through items? And it's a balance. If you move too quickly through items, you're not going to get um, the connection with the audience. And if you move too slow, people leave because it's like when you were little and commercials came on TV. You're like, well, I'll come back. I'm bored with this right now. So think about either your pacing, look at your pacing, or look at how you describe items. When it comes to describing items, you got to realize that something that I learned in sales when I coached a sales team was if we were selling an item, we sold like internet, TV, phone, security systems. Most of the items weren't actually physical or tangible items, and we sold them to small business owners. And so what you have to do is essentially get the prospect or the potential buyer to try the item on in some way. And so anything that you can do to help them to visualize it or give them a perspective, like this item would go really well with this, or this item reminds me of like this movie or this time era or whatever it might be, that can really help to have the buyers try it on in their mind, or to get them to emotionally connect to it instead of just giving the details. Anytime that we are just giving details, you are relying on price and you're relying on your product to do all the work for you. Some products can do that, but for the most part, you're gonna have to you gotta help people to emotionally connect to the product. The best way to do that is to have them emotionally connect to you as a person, and then you can help them to emotionally connect to the item.
Hmm. And a lot of times, you guys, I will say how I source the item. Like, if I don't have anything to say about the item, I love going into the process of how I found the item. So if you guys follow me on TikTok, if you don't, you should. Also, my husband is on TikTok. I will put both of our TikToks in the chat. But if you guys follow me on TikTok, there's a video of my husband making fun of me and talking about how I found the items and like elbowing people. But people really love storytelling. So bring storytelling into selling your items, because he really is right. If you're just like spouting off an eBay listing or a Poshmark listing, it's so dry. Okay, this is a visual platform. You are trying to be visual for your buyers, and my husband saying, have them try it on in their mind, because if they can see themselves wearing it or see themselves using it or whatever product you sell, the more likely they are to swipe. Okay? So making sure that you understand that you are trying to get your buyer to try it on in their mind or to use it in their mind so that they are incentivized to purchase, because they're not going to purchase something if it doesn't benefit them. Like if they aren't moving towards something that they desire by purchasing it, they're not going to buy it. I'm going to put but Stephen, what do you say around people who say they sell everything?
I think about it like walking into a restaurant. If you walked into a restaurant and you're like, what do you guys sell here? What kind of food? They're like, oh, we do everything. You're like, oh, you guys aren't very good at anything then. So you can sell everything, just not all at one time. Like the only restaurants that sell everything are like Golden Corral, you know,
Mhm.
and they're not exceptionally good at any of them. It's like the only restaurant I think I've seen that sells has a huge menu of everything. It's like the Cheesecake Factory,
Mhm.
and it's overwhelming. One of the things I think that is really helpful is to realize that most people are not watching your show because they're looking for product. They're just not. So anytime that you have a bunch of things, like the buyer, um, I mean, you guys put it into the chat. Like when you go, how many of you watch shows and you don't buy anything? Or you like if somebody's live, you go watch them. And the reason why that happens, I bet you a lot of you do that. You're not looking for particular items. You're if an item comes across that you're really interested in, you'll buy. But what you're actually doing is you're going to watch a show because of how it makes you feel. And
Mhm.
if you are watching shows based off of how it makes you feel and the experience of it, when you have shows that have a bunch of different things in it or varied starts or it's not confusing and there's not a process to it, the buyer can't ever relax into just enjoying the show.
Mhm.
So and another thing is how many of you watch shows and you don't, and I can't read the chat right now because I'm driving. Um, I'm like, hey, put stuff in the chat, and then I'm like, I'm not reading any of it, but engage. um, but how many of you just listen to shows? Like you listen to it, so you're doing other things and you're listening. So this goes back all the way to Renee's question, which is like, hey, I have only 6 people in my show. Another thing to pay attention to is the verbal, what is being said. People will stay in shows just for that because they're listening. They're like making dinner. They're on a date with their husband and they're secretly watching whatnot shows. And so the verbal is really important. So the words that you use. So if you keep using the same words over and over again, there's no novelty for the person listening. So they'll end up leaving your show. So it's
Mhm.
really this balance between like having a process that people can come in and they don't have to make decisions about like, well, what are they requesting from me, or trying to figure out what it is you're doing. And then the other side of it is the novelty of it. So having a process that makes it consistent. And then on the other side, novelty, new words, new stories, the way that you're describing things. It's not just the same thing over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you go into people's show and they show the item in the same way, the exact same cadence, even the way that they say it, we call it like we've watched people's shows and it sounds like um they're telling you what the weather is, or it sounds like they're just reading an eBay listing. The
Mm-hmm.
brain gets super bored with that really quickly. There's no novelty and they'll leave. So
Mm-hmm.
finding that balance between process, doing the same thing, so that the buyer's comfortable with it, and then novelty, something that is new, exciting. And it could even be just the chat, what's happening in the chat.
Totally. So everyone is saying that it's entertainment. I always put a show on while doing dishes. Miss Freebird says nonstop while cooking, brushing teeth, even at work. Haven House says, I have FOMO with certain sellers.
Mm,
That right there, Haven House is an example of a super fan. A super fan is someone they don't want to miss anything you do. So your goal as a seller is to get your buyers to become super fans, or to get your viewers to become super fans. And my husband always says the consideration step in the super fan sequence can take a very long time. People can consider you for a very long time. But when you have that mindset, you're not going to be upset when something goes for $1 and you got a new buyer who could have been in your show for months. But that one particular show, you showed up in a very specific way and they were like, yes, I'm going to buy. And then they end up swiping. That person gets it for $1. It's an incredible item. They open their package, they've received the whole experience, and they're like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go purchase from that buyer again. So make sure that, yeah, Wendy says, I also have FOMO with certain sellers. That's your goal. You are trying to provide such a wonderful experience. My husband says all the time, you are not a product-based business. You are a process-based business. Your process is your service. Okay? There are people on this app who don't have a thrift store. There are people on this app who love the thrill of the hunt, but they don't have a thrift store. There are people on this app who hate thrift stores and they just want the thrill of the hunt. Okay? So understanding that you are providing a service, me going into the Goodwill outlets, digging through bins for 7 hours and then going live is a service. I'm going in there, I'm sourcing all of these items for my customers. And people are willing to pay money for that. So, is there such a thing as having inventory that should be on another platform instead? I'm concerned that my inventory isn't what it should be. I'm going to let Steven answer that.
yeah, it's totally possible. So if your inventory is like so I think the thing to think about inventory is uh, so here's a cool thing about live sales. Live sales allows you to sell things that you wouldn't normally be able to sell on platforms like eBay or Etsy, because they're search engines. So if you, for example, have like this handmade upcycled piece that is one of a kind, yeah, that has so much value in live sales, but you might not be able to sell that on like eBay because people wouldn't be necessarily searching it up. So, but if your inventory on Whatnot is where you're picking up everything, so on because okay, let me just kind of take a step back. So when I talk about traditional sales, it's selling things on search engine platforms like eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Depop, Etsy. Those are search engines. People look for items specifically by typing in keywords. And so that's traditional sales. Live selling is different because you have the ability to tell stories, to be able to connect with your audience, bring things to your audience that they wouldn't normally you wouldn't normally be able to sell on eBay, like I just mentioned, like upcycled pieces, really unique handmade pieces that are incredibly valuable, but nobody's going to be searching up the specifics of those on eBay. So what you, but however, if you are selling items that do really well traditionally, because like, oh, everyone loves, I don't know, give me like a brand, baby, like North Face or
Mm-hmm.
like Nike, like everyone, Nike's a good brand. That was one of the things I'd see in videos on YouTube. Like Nike's a good brand. You're like, Nike has a huge amount of product line. So just to say like it's a good brand, that's like traditional selling. And so if your stuff is a commodity where there's a massive amount of it, then you can absolutely sell it here, but you're not going to be able to sell it at the same way that you would on like eBay, because people will be searching up stuff looking for specific styles or colors or whatever it might be. Here on Whatnot, then what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to your inventory, you want it to be refined over time to really match your audience and to be able to sell things that are part of the experience. So I would think of it like that. Like one of them is like more like fast food. You can go get it anywhere. It's a commodity. McDonald's are all over the world. It's going to taste the same. And then on Whatnot, it's going to be more nuanced. You're the chef. You are picking out unique pieces. You can develop a show, an entire show. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think some inventory will not do as good on here if it is very basic. You can get it anywhere. People aren't
Mm-hmm.
going to stay for that. But it doesn't mean that you can't sell it. It just means just be aware of that. And your goal, honestly, is to become more and more potent with what it is that you're selling and picking up more better items. I
Mm-hmm.
think one thing to really think about, and I don't think people think about this when they come from traditional resale, your goal is not to get everything that could sell. Your goal is to get better and better at finding items and being able to sell those items. Um, not getting caught up in just being like, oh, I'm going to just pick up Nike because Nike does really well. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Nike's really boring on Whatnot unless you have really unique pieces, and something that is notable, something that is remarkable.
Yeah. So just to like piggyback off of what you were saying, that's where your market data is so important. So when I first started doing this, actually, I was like well into like, I don't know, 6-7 months of doing live sales when I started keeping a show journal. Stephen was telling me that one, market data is so important. So all of this that I'm talking about, you guys, Stephen, like he thought of, or he learned it somewhere and was teaching me. Like, look at me as the athlete and look at my husband as the coach. That's really the roles in our relationship, in our business. So when you are done with the show, you should be, one, self-reflecting, two, I kept a show journal. Okay, I kept a show journal and I would write down the detailed information of what happened in that show, and then I also would write down the items that would get bid up, because that is my market data. My market is telling me something by them bidding up items. Okay, so if you're not keeping a show journal, it can be so simple. It can be in a notebook. It doesn't have to be this like crazy spreadsheet and making sure you're tracking everything. It is, what do your buyers want and how can you go out and find it? Because once you go and understand what it is that your market wants, it is so fun. It is so much funner than just throwing stuff at the wall hoping that it sticks. But once you know what your market wants, which is through repetition, it's through going live consistently and constantly evaluating your market data and then pivoting. I have stuff that I pick up that I genuinely think is ugly. I'm not going to say what it is, but I pick it up because I know my market loves it. You have to let go of your ego. That is the biggest thing that my husband has harped on, is I don't know what my market wants. I don't know. The only way I can find out is through testing. Babe, will you share the concept of feeder shows and what was the other one called?
I don't know. I don't know how we.
Okay,
I
you
don't
don't
know.
have
I
to
feel like
name
they're test shows. I don't have
it.
like a term for this. The idea is really like, um, so live selling is so cool because you do get that instant market feedback that you can put up items and get real time feedback if the item is good or not, and it keeps you on. It keeps you in it keeps your finger on the pulse of what's happening because markets change, seasons change, and so with live selling, you're able to get real time feedback. And so what we do is we'll use shows as more of like what we call like a feeder show, where it's like we're looking to get market data. I don't know. Well, I don't know if we're going to stick with that terminology. The
Yep.
idea is we have shows that are like. They're shows that are designed specifically to get market feedback and to connect with buyers.
Mhm.
And so we don't. Those are really, and for us, that's kind of the binge shows.
Yeah.
There, it's a lot of novelty. It is, and it's really geared towards building up towards fancy finds. The
Mhm.
fancy find show is more of a show that's testing to see how good we are at getting the items that people are looking for, like if you can call out what is a premium item and what is not a premium item, and
Mhm.
not just based off of like, oh, it's just brand and it's just this, but so I you can run your shows like a in a sequence that helps to build into other shows. So
Mhm.
for example, if you guys are sitting on a if you are a traditional reseller and you have a ton of inventory, or you're a live seller, you just have a ton of inventory, go through and look at your items and you're making a guess at what you feel like is going to be the best item. And then what you can do is you can do like what you would might if you're brand new, probably don't do this, but set up like more of a premium show, and then do shows that are like designed to move product, to be able to get instant market feedback, and to help you to build into that other show, so that you're building a relationship with your buyers, so that when you do one of these shows, it's like a full production. If you guys have seen Jen's Fancy Find show, like it looks a lot different than the binge show, and there's a lot of different it's different prep that goes into that show than it would for a binge show. Bins are the entire cycle. The 5S cycle is done in one day. Besides shipping, shipping should be done by the following morning, but it isn't
Mhm.
always. We're working on that.
Mhm.
um,
It's already
but
done.
it's already done. It's done. Um, so the bin show, the 5S cycle takes us, let's call it like 36 hours. The 5S cycle for a fancy find show is 1 week. And so you can play around with these different types of shows and how you do it that will help you in other shows. So that for those of you that sell everything, that you're like, I have all sorts of stuff, you could look at two different categories that correspond or run parallel. Like Jen has she has um a kid show. Well, a kid show is going to run more parallel with moms, right? I've never gotten on and bought my kids any clothes. My kids always have clothes for some reason. So, uh, but that's going to run in parallel with like moms who are more likely to buy for their kids and to buy for themselves. So if you do have multiple categories, you could play off of this thing of being in two different categories as long as they're parallel from each other. And then you use those shows in order to create like a some sort of like loop between the two of them so that you can overlap. And so look at how you use your shows to be able to feed into other shows. So we're calling it like feeder shows and like test shows right now. A test show is like, let's see how good we can do with our fancy find, based off of like, are we picking up like really good items? It's like a show that tests Jen on every area. And then a feeder show is more like we do volume in order to get a lot of feedback and to be able to connect with buyers consistently. The other thing you need to consider is, I think for those of you that really want to make a go at this, look at your schedule and figure out how you can do a really consistent pace week to week of like the highest volume that you could possibly do. If it's one show a week, okay, so be it. If it's one show a month, you can do it. It's going to be difficult and it's going to be because you're not staying in the forefront of your buyer's experience. So if you guys really want to make a go at this, look at your week and be like, how can I do this really consistently? How many shows can I do a week without burning myself out? And finding a really
Mhm.
good pace for what it is that I'm doing, that you will see tremendous results from doing that. I'll give you guys a real life example. We, at the beginning of the year, were transferring over to luxury. We didn't understand the 5S cycle for luxury. So we took a big step back from everything as we were going through personal transitions as well. And then Jen's like, I think I'm going to go to the bins and do shows. So for her first day going to the bins, her first few shows at the bins, most people would have given up automatically. And the reason why is it looked like she was making like $7 an hour, $10 an hour. Like it would be more useful for her to drive Uber than it would be for her to go to the bins and do these shows, especially with the amount of work and the amount of like stress that it created. But we didn't even like hesitate to keep going. And the reason why is, yeah, we understand that it takes some momentum to get up and going. And once it gets up and going, you will see that things like really start to compound. So in her first bin show, and she's been at this time, she'd already been doing it for like 2.5 years, selling on Whatnot. Her first bin shows, she was only making, after going for an entire day, making like $100. She was making like $10 an hour. But we celebrated that and we're like, yay, this works. So that's cool. And then there's probably maybe, low, like high teens to like low 20s, maybe mid 20s as far as like viewership goes. And Jen already at this point had 100 people on her show before, like at her peak. So, but she didn't like stop. She wasn't like, oh no, this isn't working, because we understand that'd be like going to the gym for the first time, getting all sweaty and out of breath and being like, this didn't work at all. You're like, no, it is working. It's part of the process. Yesterday, she had like 90 people on her bin show. The show is the same. She's gotten better at it. She's more refined with it, but the show itself hasn't changed all that much. It's the consistent showing up again and again, refining her process for how she does bin shows, refining her inventory, looking back over it, how we're able to do shipping for 100 items, 3 times a week. It's all part of that 5S cycle that you get better at, but you have to consistently show up again and again and again and look for how you can do as much volume as you can so that you can build a buyer base and get that market feedback. I think sometimes people spend so much time just trying to do like one show, and you're not setting up for multiple shows. You're setting up for one show, and that's like setting up for a really good session at a gym and then taking off 2 weeks and then going back, and you're like, I don't know why I'm not building muscle. I don't know why I'm not getting in better shape. You're not doing the amount of volume that you need to in order to get that compounding effect to kick in.
Mhm. Yeah, and that it's not even the compounding effect, it's also your skill set. The more volume you do, the better you're gonna do each live. And the
Mhm.
more volume you do, the better you get at sourcing. Volume in Whatnot and in live sales has been the key to our success. A lot of times we will push our 5S model to the brink. But when you do that, you understand what part of the 5S model you need to improve. So then sometimes we'll take a step back, not do as many shows, but still be consistent enough that buyers know how to find us. And then we pivot and we adjust and make sure that our 5S cycle is conducive for what it is that we're trying to do. So I definitely think that volume has been a huge game changer for us, because one, if you're trying to make this your full-time commitment where you're replacing another income for this, you're gonna have to do volume, and you're gonna have to be like, I go to my 9 to 5 job and then I come home and I do a show at 9:30 p.m. Like, you have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone of being like, I'm gonna be so tired, or you like really need to push past the idea that you can get to where you want to go by just doing the bare minimum. Like, you really want to develop that heart set and mindset and skill set of I'm someone who wants to be a full-time live seller, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be able to make that happen. And when I first started on the app, it was way different. Like, you couldn't just hop on and make sales. I wasn't making sales every single show. And I was doing $1 starts. So now that the app has growth and there's a lot of people, thank you so much, Studio, for your purchase. Now that the app has grown, there's so much viewership and there's so much sales to be made. Like, go live as much as you can without burnout. That's like my number one tip. Like, do as much as you can without being like frazzled, stressed, and burnt out.
And learn from your Sorry, I
Mhm.
do have to emphasize one thing.
Do it.
It is not about doing just volume. The purpose of doing volume is that you learn from what you're doing and improve. If you, it's like, so I play guitar, and there are people like, I play guitar for 25 years. And in most people's mind, you're like, dang, you got to be really good. And then you'd see somebody who's like, yeah, I've been playing for 40 years. And then they're not really that great at guitar. It's that they've been doing the same thing for 40. I've heard it said before, you're like, you haven't played guitar for 40 years. You played guitar for 1 year and you've done that 40 times.
Mhm.
That's different than somebody who's like, I play guitar for 3 years, but they're looking to improve over and over. They have an actual way that they listen to what they're doing. They're learning new techniques. They're really working on their conditioning, and they're getting really good based off of um, looking at their experience, looking at how refining their process and getting better and better at what it is that they're doing.
Mhm.
So don't do volume for the sake of volume. Do volume so that you learn from it. It does no good to do a bunch of volume and then not be going through. And that's what the story portion is of the 5S cycle, is understanding what is happening. What's the story of where this is going?
And if you
Not
guys
only for yourself.
you're just coming in and you're like, what is the 5S cycle? You can get it in the playbook. Thank you, Revival. And Revival, you will receive like a small little something in the mail, but this is so you can watch this video back. All right. We also are going to do a live Q&A tomorrow as well. So you guys can go bookmark that. And I will be live today at, 3:45 Mountain Standard Time. You guys can come check out my binge show. I have a very detailed process for my binge show. I do the same process every single time. I do the whole 5S cycle in a 24-hour period. And yeah, if you guys want to come check it out, you can. Also, like, check out the bin. We're gonna do show audits. There's only 5 in there right now because we got to make sure that we can manage the workload, and we don't want to take too many people on and be too overwhelmed. So if you're looking for a show audit, it is going to be either Steven or I coming into your show privately and just observing your studio, observing your tone, observing just all of the different things that go into a good show. And then you're going to receive a detailed breakdown of what you can do to improve, as well as the playbook. So if you buy an audit, you're going to get the playbook as well. So that is super, super valuable, especially because there's so many nuances in live sales, and to have someone come into your show and be like, this is what I saw, is so valuable. So if you're interested in that, that is in the bin as well. There was a question, as a new seller, should I do longer shows if I have a lot of inventory, or should I stick to 30 to 40 items in shorter shows? We recommend 40 to 50 items. The longevity of your show is really important. So making sure that you're not doing 70 items and you're having low viewership, low sales, therefore your morale goes down. And I feel like 40 to 50 items is the sweet spot.
I
So
think I just want to say, like, I think if I were somebody who, if you have the inventory, what I would do is I would, and you've done live shows already, and you're not like seeing like a breakthrough or a breakout in your show. What I would do is I'd go through and see if you can pick out what you feel like are your best items. I would set those items aside. I would take photos of them. I would load my store. I would make sure that I'm prepared as best as you can. Like you are going to put on the best show that you possibly can. That's your goal, is to do like your most stellar show. And then what I would do is I would prepare for that show, like set it into the future. And then I would go out there and I would connect with community. I would go into other people's shows. Like I would go to Jen's show. I would get her attention in some way. Whether I am like being really engaging in the chat, whatever it might be. If you guys notice if you guys buy anything from Jen, she will go click on your name and learn your name, right? She also looks at how many sales you have. And a lot of times she'll be like, oh, you have a show coming up. Hey, everyone, go follow this person. So I
Mm-hmm.
would go out and engage. I would not spam people's shows and be like, hey, can I promo in your show? No, go find sellers that you really resonate with, because most likely their audience is going to resonate with you in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I would engage with them. I'd maybe even buy something for them, those buyers. And then once I have that rapport and that trust, be like, hey, I have a show coming up if you wouldn't mind. Jen has no problem promoting people's shows. She loves it. She will hype you up like no other. But only if you are somebody who is actually engaging and coming in and adding value to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would do feeder shows up until then and be like, hey, I'm just, I don't like using stuff like closet clear out and things like that because I think it devalues your item. But Chat GPT, a good title for your show that shows like, hey, I'm moving items and they're also that aren't devaluing your show. And then use that as a feeder show, getting return buyers, getting first time buyers and saying, hey, if you like this, I'm doing this show on this day. Be sure to bookmark it. And I would go through and try to get as many bookmarks and do as many shows up front to kind of feed into
Mm-hmm.
that show. That's exactly what
Mm-hmm.
Jen is doing on a weekly basis. And
Yep.
so that would be the process that I would do to help you break through, but mainly mentally for you to say, how good of a show can I do? And to see the level of prep that goes into a show. The level of prep that goes into Jen's Fancy Find show is all week
Mm-hmm.
long. And then like Friday night, and then like all day Saturday is a prep for that show. It is a
Mm-hmm.
long day. And we're staging every item. We're going through and making sure everything is steamed, trimming off like little threads, lint rolling, all the stuff that goes along with it. And so I would go through and do that level of prep for one show. Like give it
Mm-hmm.
your all in one show, not just
Mm-hmm.
because you're trying to make the most off of that one show, but mentally you are setting yourself up to be like, I am a pro at this. And how good can I do one show? You're trying to
Mm-hmm.
break through like mentally, um, and really push your skill set and see how good are you. And then
Mm-hmm.
don't take it personally or anything like that. And then you go through after that show, review it, and then set it up again. And if you can
Yeah.
set that up as a cycle where you're doing that repeatedly, where you have like your premiere show, your best of the best show, and you have like these feeder shows where you're like you're getting a lot of camera time, you're improving your skill set, you have a process for sourcing a lot of items. That's where I think you'll see the most growth as a live seller, because you've got to get as much time as possible in front of the camera and sourcing and staging. You got to do the 5S cycle in volume. And most importantly, you're doing the 5S cycle with a refining mindset. Like, how do I improve
Mm-hmm.
this? How do I get better at staging? When I'm staging items, I'm literally looking at like how I position it so I can with how am I steaming the items? What can I do to make it better? How do I get better at what it is I'm doing? Because I don't want to stage all day on Saturday. So I want to get
Mm-hmm.
faster at it, but there's a certain level of quality that we want to have. Um, so that's something to think about. Like, how can you go through, do volume, and then refine over and over again? And I promise you, you'll get better at this thing called live sales. And it makes
And
sense.
it's
It's like everything in life. That's how
mm-hmm.
life works. So it's not different than anything else. You want to be a great chef? How can you get in the kitchen as much as possible and learn and improve and get feedback and do it again? You want to get
Mm-hmm.
in good shape? How do you go to the gym and don't just show up to the gym? You're showing up and be like, how can I get stronger? How can I be more efficient in my workout? How can I, whatever it might be, have that refining mindset of like, I'm going to do volume and I'm going to get better and better with every single rep that I do.
Mm-hmm. And it's so much more fun, you guys, when you do that. When you do a show that is like you go all out, like you are steaming, you're lint rolling, you're putting the show in order. When you do that, it's so much more gratifying than just being like, I'm going to go live on a whim and show what I have and hopefully people buy it. People get money hungry. Like, I'm not saying that trying to make money is bad. I'm saying people get the idea of being like, I want to get on so I can make money because I need it for this. Instead, be like, how can I provide as much value as possible to my buyers and give them a wonderful experience? And in that experience is where they become super fans. But you have to put the effort in to the process and to what it is that you're doing so that people will want to come back. So, like, my staging process is way different at the bins because I don't have a steamer, I don't have a lint roller, I don't have scissors. I all that I have is what I can do with my um with like buttoning and just laying the item flat. That's essentially my staging process in my um no, not all my buyers leave reviews. And yes, music helps tremendously. It fills the dead air. But my staging process is way different at the bins than it is at home because I don't have the full capability of doing what I have. Like, if you're doing clothes and you don't own a steamer, you should really get a steamer. If you're doing clothes and you're not lint rolling and doing all of that, I promise you it'll set you apart from all of the other sellers.
Mhm.
How do you keep track of Goodwill bins items to track profit? Do you keep Goodwill bin item in a spreadsheet? We keep everything in a spreadsheet. My husband is a huge nerd and loves the spreadsheet.
She just
So
called me a nerd.
you
My
are a
wife just
nerd.
called me a nerd.
He's a
So
nerd. He
here's
loves
what you
numbers.
understand. Here's what to understand about this, and this is another thing of like why I think traditional resellers get beat up in live sales. I think that you need to make a decision. I don't think that hybrid people do very well
Mhm.
in live sales.
Mhm.
In traditional sales, you're buying an item. Let's say you buy it for $7, and your goal is to maybe make like 3x on that. So you want to sell it for $21 or more, right? And
Mhm.
so it makes sense to go through and build a big old spreadsheet of every single item, what you purchased it for, and then what it sold for, so that you can track your profit margin off of each item. Live sales, we
Mhm.
don't do that. So what you do is you go out and you buy. When she buys stuff from the bins, well, number one, she's buying it by the pound. So we figure in what we call CPI, her her item. Cost per item is what we do.
Mhm.
And based off of her cost per item, that's how we determine. So if you, for example, are going out and you're buying, let's say you go out and buy like 10 items and it
Mhm.
costs you $50. So it's $5 per item.
Mhm.
But some of those items you bought for $1, some of them, one of them you
Pick up
bought for
my
like
jacket too. I'm like,
$15. In traditional
might have
sales,
to
what
admit
most
it, huh?
people do is they will, in when they do live sales, they're like, okay, so this item I bought for $5, so I'm going to start it at $7. This item I bought for $12, so I'm going to start it at $15. That's what makes sense. But it's not a good experience for the buyer, and it's not a good experience for you because you're going to have to track all of that. But because you're doing volume, because you're a pro at live sales, you can't do that. So what you do instead is you have one start price, and you average out what your cost per item is. So if you go out there and you buy 50, or let's how whatever it is, and it ends up being $5 per item, that can be your start price. And people are like, well, I'm not going to make any money on that. I want you guys to look at something. When you guys go into shows and they have varied start prices, this item I'm going to start at $28. This one I'm starting at $18. I want you guys to pay attention to the behavior of the buyer. Those items may sell, but very rarely do they get bid up. They rarely, there'll be like one or two people that bid on that item. So think about like the velocity of your item. So what I mean by velocity is you guys have seen it before. An item starts at $1 or $5, whatever it is, and then it starts getting bid up like really quick, where all of a sudden that thing's at like $40 to $50. My theory is if let's say an item you started it at $5 and it went to $50. My theory is if you started that thing at $40, you probably wouldn't get $50 for it, and there wouldn't be any velocity for it. It might not even sell at all. And so the beautiful thing about live sales and auctioning is that velocity. You want to build in that velocity. You want it to get that momentum. That momentum is what's going to drive up your sales, not your start price. What I mean by that is if you started an item at $5 and it goes to $50, if you started it at $10, it's not going to go to $55. It doesn't work that way. So it doesn't matter if you started at $1 or $5. That's more for the seller to feel comfortable with doing it at that price, not necessarily the buyer. And so now my spreadsheets don't have every single item. We don't mark down, hundreds of items a week individually. What we do is we just say we sold this many items. This was the total revenue. This was the total earnings. This was after we subtract all that plus our costs of goods. Here is our gross profit. Here's our net profit overall. And then I'll break it down per item. I'll just take like net profit divided by total items sold equals this, so I know what my profit per item is. And that's a way better way to do this, and it'll give you an indication so that you're not basing everything that you're doing off of your items. Remember, you're not a product-based business. You're a process-based business that's designed on giving the best buyer experience possible. So that way you're not tracking each individual item. Don't do that. It's going to be too time consuming, and you put too much value into each one of your items, or like, oh, this item I spent $15 on, it has to go for like $30 or it wasn't a good buy. Jen will buy a jacket, buy up for it, and spend $15 on it and start it for $1 in her fancy find show. And here's the crazy thing, y'all. Some of those items do go for $1, and it's okay. The profit per item is way higher. So she's not concerned about it at all. When you have varied starts and when you're so focused on your product and my product, you're losing out on the entire experience of live selling, and you end up hiding behind your product, being like, my product is my asset. And that's not true. You and your skill set is your asset. When you put so much emphasis on your product, you'll see this in people's shows. They literally hide behind their product. They show their product and they hide behind it, and they put all of the effort into their product. And so if you didn't have a good show, then the first thing that they do is they go and say, well, maybe it's my products. It probably wasn't good enough products. It's not your product. It's your product is only like 20% of what it is that you're doing. The other 80% of that is going to have a way bigger effect on your success than just your product.
That's why staging is so important.
And when you're staging sorry, baby.
Go ahead, babe. You're good.
Well, I was going to say, when you go through and stage, spend time with each one of your items as well, and think about how you would describe this item to a friend on the phone that can't see what you're showing. If you think about it in those terms, like what words would you use? How would you describe it? And how would you describe an item to somebody that cannot see the item? When you do that and think through that mentally, when you go live and you're showing the item plus you're describing it in that way, watch what happens. You will be able to sell items that you're like, that's so crazy. Like it is in the way that you present it, right? It's like a chef. If I have a bunch of ingredients, I can take high quality ingredients and put them on a plate in front of you and be like, look at these ingredients. They're really high quality. They all came from farmers markets and they're all organic, and it's the best out there. That's not going to do anything. But if, as a chef, if I present those ingredients in a different way and the way that I combine it is going to, I, you can, you can make way more money as a chef, not because of the ingredients themselves and just the quality of the ingredients, but be how you combine them and how you present them. And so look at your shows like that. How do I take my items and present it in a way that is very appealing and makes the things that I have even better? Because that's what you're doing as a live seller.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And I think remembering that average cost of goods really helps you be totally okay with the item going for less than what you wanted. And remembering as a seller, you need to remove that expectation because you cannot control what your audience bids your items up to. So when you remove that from your emotion and your view of like a negative sale or somehow this didn't go the way that I wanted, when you do that, you literally create a emotional pocket for your buyers to be able to receive what it is that you're selling and for you to see the value of it. So making sure that you don't have that written all over your face because your buyer can tell exactly how you are feeling based on your expression. People are so attuned and cameras are so good that like you need to work on that mindset and that skill set. That is why we created the playbook, because it breaks down your business in a really unemotional way and it helps you understand what you're trying to do. Okay, so understanding the 5S model is a game changer and it's in the playbook, which is in right now if you guys want to grab it. But making sure you understand that you don't get to determine the value of your item. You don't get to say what is a good item and what isn't because you're not your market. Thank you so much, Liz. So be sure to know, sorry this is so loud, but be sure to note that you are not the determiner of the success of each item. Your market is. My husband always tells me, Jenica, you are the scientist. You want to approach your live sales as a scientist. Be creative. Like, don't look at a bad purchase as a bad purchase because it didn't get bid up. That is valuable data, valuable market data that you get to then take into sourcing. So now I know what my market wants. So I'm going to go in and get it. And I'm not going to pick up what they didn't bid up. But if you don't have that skill set and that heart set and that mindset, that's what's in the playbook. You're going to struggle in live sales. It's going to be a struggle because you are going to put the value of your items on you and also your sourcing ability when it's just data. They're just telling you what they want. So then take that constructive criticism and go find what they want, not what you want. Hi, Gustavo! I love you. Right here. You take this. You take it. You're welcome. I don't know who's this. Okay. You're welcome. I love you. So yeah, that's the number one thing that I want you guys to take away from this. Is so many people put so much emotional like stress and like if it doesn't go for this, then this means this. Thank you for the coffee, Gigi. You will get a small something in the mail, and also if you purchase a coffee, you will have access to this video for 60 days. It will be in your video receipt on your order. So understanding that you don't know what your market wants has been such a relief for me. Because ask my husband, I would walk out of shows and be so defeated. And he would be like on cloud
Yeah,
nine.
let's
Yeah, like,
go.
this is amazing. And I'm like, but my Johnny was sold for $5. He's like, but you got a new buyer. And I'm like, you don't understand me. You don't get it. But him repeating this over and over again, get the playbook, read it over and over and over again, and get that into your psychology, because it is the difference between your items getting bid up and making a bunch of money versus no one's bidding and you don't understand why.
Y'all, you are the asset of your business. For those of you that are
Mm-hmm,
like, yeah, but the money that I put into this, like if I don't make my money back or I don't make a profit, and like, what if I lose money in my first thing and my product, and then and the money that I'm making, and then my product, and
mm-hmm,
what you're doing every time that you talk in that way is you
mm-hmm,
believe that your business and money is something that is outside of you. You're the asset of your business. You're misplacing
mm-hmm.
where the value of your business is. The value of your business is not your product. It's your skill
Thank you,
set.
Coco.
It's your mindset. It's your heart set that goes into this, not your product. It's not your product.
Mm-hmm,
Yes, product is important, but it's how you find it. It's your eye. You're the artist. You're the chef that is
mm-hmm.
able to take ingredients and turn it into more. If you
Yep,
take, so everything that you do, if you look at this and you're like, okay, I spent $500 on a show, and I um I got new buyers and I got some repeat buyers. But after I looked at the whole thing and I did low starts and all this, and I'm not saying you need to do low starts. What I'm saying is let's say you break even on this,
mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh no, I made my $500 back. So it was, I literally worked, and this is an employee mindset. I literally
Yep,
worked for no money. No, you didn't. You got new skill set. You upgraded your skill set. You get to go back through and you get to learn from that show. You got new buyers. You got
mm-hmm.
return buyers. And now you have all this market data. You just got better. You
Yep,
literally broke even, and you paid nothing for the best training in the world for your business. If you
yep,
think in terms of, I need to make money on every single show, you are an employee minded person. That most likely
yep,
means that you have never been in business for yourself, and you
mm-hmm.
believe, see, an employee believes, if I put in the hours, I get paid for the hours. I need to get paid for it, or it's a waste of my time. That's a
Mm-hmm.
silly thing to do. You don't get paid training for this. You're running a business. There is no,
Yep,
that's the risk of running a business. But understand that if you take this as a business owner, like look at this as a business owner, you just gained experience. You're like, yes, I'm
mm-hmm.
getting better in my business. I'm going to go back through and watch my show. If you get one thing out of watching your show and you're like, oh, I say a lot, or I say sorry a lot. That was one thing I told Jen early on. Stop
Yeah.
apologizing. What are you apologizing for? Oh, sorry, guys. Oh, I don't have that item. Sorry. Oh, let me see if I can do this. Oh, it doesn't fit you. I'm sorry. Why? Why are
Mm-hmm.
you sorry? Don't be sorry. And if you pick
Mm-hmm.
out one thing from that, and each show that you do that, you get better and better at doing that, that's where you begin to actually make money that you couldn't make as an employee. But you have to
Mm-hmm.
get out of that employee mindset of, I need to make money for every hour that I put in to this.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're doing is when you do that, you are devaluing the true asset of your business. The true
Mm-hmm.
asset of your business is you and your skill set, your eye, how you do it, your personality, your process, your how the music that you play. That is your asset. It is you. If you put all of your emphasis on making money from day one, and I don't want to lose any money, and I want to make sure it's not a waste of my time, you're missing out on the entire process that is going to allow you to improve again and again. And I can promise you, um, like I just said a little while ago, when Jen first started going to the bins, when she'd come home, we go through her numbers, and I'm like, okay, you made $100 today. She'd been there for like,
In
when all said and
profit.
done, in
In
profit, and
profit.
In profit, she made $100. Yeah, in profit. And she'd been there for 10 hours. Like that means she was making $10 an hour, and it didn't account for her driving there and the the time to do that, plus the gas and all those different things. And so it looked like, as an employee, if she was employee mindset, she'd be like, oh, that's $10 an hour. That's a waste of my time. I'm worth more than $10 an hour. So I should probably just go get a job at McDonald's or drive Uber because I'd make more money doing that. That's an employee mindset. When you look at this from being like, great, well, we got some new buyers. Yep, there's only like 18 people in the show. We'll try again tomorrow. She would go back the next day. The next day, she'd be like, make around the same thing, maybe a little bit more. Most people would quit because they would go through and calculate her hourly and be like, it would be more worth it for you to go do any other job than this. Plus you would get the benefits, plus you would be able to get all the perks, and you'd get free meals at the restaurant you're working at, whatever that might be. That's an employee mindset where you're like, I need to get paid for every hour that I put in on day one. But then
And
fast forward. Yeah,
sorry,
go
babe,
ahead, baby.
but this business is entrepreneurial mindset. That is what this business is. And if you go into it with a employee mindset, you're not going to do as well. Keep going.
Yeah. And so you got to break from that whole mentality of I should get paid for every hour that I put in. Because when you do that, I want you to consider this where you're like, well, it makes sense. Like, why would I work for something for $10 an hour? Because you can't walk into your job and say, I would like 100% raise, please. I would like you to double how much I make right now. I'm currently making $25 an hour or $30 an hour. I would like to make $60 an hour, please, by the end of the month. It's not happening. It's not happening. So your trade-off is if you stop looking at this as trying to trade your time for money, each hour, what you're making per hour, and instead start looking at this of like, training ain't paid in business. If you break even, that's awesome. But as you continue to do this over and over again, you will make more money per hour than you could possibly make. So Jen started doing the bins in like May, I think.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look. April or May. And she was making $10 an hour. The amount of money that she'll make per hour now is far greater than she could have ever accelerated at any job, by hands down, by far. So go into that.
It's the same thing with LTV.
She's doing the same. Yeah.
It's the same thing. Over time, you're gonna make more money because people want to buy from people they know, like, and they trust. But if you're not live enough and consistent enough and willing to be like, I'm in this for the long term, you're not gonna build that LTV.
Because what
Sorry,
you do,
babe, keep going.
no, that's right on point. What you'll do is you're like, okay, I'm gonna go do this. I average out my cost of goods. I'm gonna do $5 starts. Let's go in and do this. You go in, but unfortunately, the employee mindset takes over at the end of the show. You're like, I made zero money. I need to take a step back. I need to rethink about this. And then you don't do shows, but you don't realize that you got 12 new first-time buyers who are really excited. They love everything that you did. You started to move them through that super fan sequence, but you stopped because you're like, this is a waste of my time. And then you don't do shows, or you don't do another show for 3 weeks. And then all those buyers have already moved on to somebody else. However, had you gone and started doing consistent shows, those buyers would come back and they'd buy from you again, and you'd get new buyers. And for the first few shows, you might not make any money. But as you do it over time, now those first-time buyers and return buyers, they keep coming back, and now you have more buyers and more people in your show, and then they start bidding against each other because you're not doing varied start prices. And then all of a sudden you start to get this like sales velocity, this bidding velocity where something starts at $5 and all of a sudden it's like boom, 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 and it starts increasing. And one item will cover the cost of goods for your entire show. And now everything else puts you into profit. And so, and it's only because you consistently show up. You don't look at this as being an employee that needs to make money from day one. If I don't make money, I see a lot of people. I have a TikTok, and I have people that comment like, I did a couple shows on Whatnot, and it was a waste of my time. why? Well, it was a waste of your time. And the idea behind it is full on, I didn't get paid for the hours that I put in. Well, that's an employee. An employee makes money regardless of what happens in the business. You go to work, you clock in, you get paid. That's not how business works. That's why when people complain, like, well, the CEO makes like this much, or the founder, the owner makes this much more money than the employee. The owner took years to develop the product and to put it out to market and took all the financial risk. He should, or she should, get all the financial reward. And then when the employee, when I worked at a call center, they would say that same thing. Do you know how much money they're making off of each one of these sales that we do? I'm like, yeah. They're like, I was looking at the thing and they're making like, if I make a sell, the company makes like hundreds of dollars of money of revenue. And I'm only getting paid like $20 for that same sell, or $30. I'm like, yeah. They're like, dude, that's so unfair. Like, I'm the one doing the work. I'm like, you're right, dude. You know what you should do? You should go out there and you should learn marketing, and you should set up a call center and figure out how to set up all your phones. And then you should pay for that marketing up front and get your phone to ring. And then you should create these deals and these contracts with these companies, and you should go do this too. And they're like, dude, that's so much work. I'm like, I know. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Employees will get run over in business. So don't be an employee mindset person that thinks that you need to get paid for every hour that you put in. And if you do track your hourly, the only reason that we track hourly is because we want to see the value of that go up. Jen is doing the same thing right now as she did in the beginning. She's going through looking at items. Nothing has really changed. She's gotten better at what she does because of the volume that she's doing, but it doesn't change. It doesn't change anything. Her hourly was not the as to whether or not she's doing it. So I haven't even, not even like looking at comments, y'all.
You should.
I should.
Because there's good questions in there.
Would you recommend doing live sales from the bins for new sellers? Noelle, the last,
Read the
if you
comment,
guys,
babe, so everyone knows.
okay, so Noelle 1970 said, would you recommend doing live sales from the bins for new sellers? No, I would not. I think that you should do it in the safety and the comfort of your own home, so that you get your process down and that you
guys,
stage.
Let me just tell you, going live from the bins makes me so uncomfortable. Like, this is not easy for me to get up every day at 6:15 in the morning, get here at 7:15. It takes so much. Like, ask Steven. Like, there have been days where I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to go. And he's like, okay, whatever you need to do. It is so mentally taxing to do this. And because there's only one spot that I can go live from, I do not recommend this unless you are an experienced seller. But keep going, man.
Yeah, y'all, I've been driving for the last bit and I didn't look at any of your comments. If you guys are still here and you want your question answered or anything, will you guys put it in just to the chat? We'll just start over. Where are you guys located? I don't want to miss Jen's show. We're Mountain Standard Time, so it's 3:45 Mountain Standard Time. We're in Utah. I have to do so much setup because I live in an apartment. 100%, Noelle. Here's the other thing. Your process of getting those things set up is part of your process. So at first, your things your shows and your staging and shipping will take a lot of work, but the more that you do it, the better you'll get at doing that. It is a ton of work up front for the first bit, but now when we do staging, it's way easier because we've done all the prep for it. So just something to keep in mind. You will get better and better, and over time, you'll become more efficient, and therefore your time becomes more valuable. Someone said going live at the bins attracts people to your page. It might. I think the main thing is the novelty of it. The people like it because of that. But Jen was doing just mystery polls from home. We were doing the same thing. We would just buy everything, bring it home, hang it, and stage it. And it would do the same thing. I think it's the novelty of what might be found at the bins. Best times and days to go live. Best times and days to go live is like exercising. What are the best times for you that you can consistently show up? Don't base your thing off off of it's your life, it's your business. So make sure that
Yep.
you run what can you consistently show up and do. Don't worry about
Mhm.
best times to go live and this and that. Like, yeah, if you're getting on at like at 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe there's not as many people, but you'll
I
find that
think
the
it's a
people that
great
show up at that
time.
time, you'll be surprised. There are people that
Mhm.
do shows that are like at 4:30 our time,
Yeah.
and
Oh, it's
they
bananas.
crush it. They
She does
crush
it.
it.
Yeah. Do it
But the
whenever
main
works
thing
for
is
you.
yeah, you have people coming back again and again to your shows. So when you
Mhm.
are consistent with doing the days and the times, those people most likely have a weekly schedule or a weekly cadence that aligns.
Mhm.
So now you get return buyers. Like not everyone's going to be able. Jen does not base her show times based off of what's going to work for other people because we
None
can't.
of you should.
Yeah,
None of
none of you
you
should.
should.
And don't look at like, oh, well, there's a big seller on at this time, so I don't want to like compete with them. Like you run your thing like you're setting up something because it's unique to you. So go
Yep.
you'd be surprised what happens here at 3 a.m. I bet I would. Um yeah, let's see. Um what are ways you can build momentum with a lower view count? Okay. So your lower view count, I want you to remember this. So we have 30 people in this right now. This is not it is not viewer 1, viewer 2, viewer 3, viewer 4. You guys are actual humans, just like I'm an actual human. If you have 5 people in your show, one of them is you. So you have 4 people in your show. Those are 4 humans. And don't look at a low view count as being unsuccessful in any way.
Mhm.
One of
Yep.
those buyers, one of those buyers could be a spender and you don't even know it. And they really like what your vibe and they like what you have, and they'll
Yep.
spend money with you. So if you what I would say is because we say don't take requests, don't let other people run your show, but you want to connect with the viewers. And let's say you're showing items and they're staying in your show, but nobody is like responding or
Fine.
buying anything. Just stop for a moment and just ask them. And I'm going to ask you guys a question. You guys can write these down. I'm going to give you 2 questions right now. Number 1, what is the last thing that you purchased on Whatnot? What's the last thing you purchased
Some
on
of you,
Whatnot?
it was the playbook for coffee, and
Yeah.
we really
So ask your
appreciate that.
buyers. I'm curious. Like, I love Whatnot. I love coming in and watching shows, but what's the last thing you purchased on Whatnot? The other thing that you can ask them is, what are y'all doing right now? Like, and just always go first. Just be like, hey, I have a question for y'all. What are y'all doing right now? Sometimes when I'm watching Whatnot, for example, I'm cooking dinner, or my spouse is watching a show and I'm watching Whatnot shows. Like I'm just
Mhm.
hanging out in bed. What are y'all doing right now? What this does is it gets people to now engage into your show. Now you have
Mhm.
an opportunity to get to know you, to get to know them, and for them to get to know you.
Yeah,
Don't go
don't
into
make
this
it
of like,
all about you.
yeah,
You're
um,
when you're in the mindset of being like, how do I get what I want from them? You have to switch it. How do I give them such a good service that they will swipe? Like, you have to be in the serving mindset. You have a skill set, you can source. Most, like, as a traditional reseller, we consume a ton of content around people who go sourcing, right? So we think everyone goes sourcing. But Steven goes into a Goodwill and he's like, this smells like my grandma's house and I'm leaving. So there are people who don't enjoy having to do the service of
Um,
going and looking
and
for items.
ice salted caramel mocha.
Babe, you.
how do I
So,
do that?
um, so just remember, like, stop thinking about yourself. Think about giving your customers a stellar experience because then they will come back and be
2,
another,
3, 5,
they will be a
0,
repeat
0,
buyer.
and
Sorry, you guys. That took you forever to get there.
Because I forget that rush hour exists.
So I'm just saying, like, switch the narrative. Don't think about how you can get what you want from them. Think about how you can serve them. and watch what happens.
Yeah, let's do one.
And like genuinely care about them. That's what he's saying is like ask questions, get to know your buyers. Don't be That's why like having Q&A shows are so valuable because there's no pressure to sell. There's only
Thank you.
the expectation of
Thanks, you too.
giving your audience as much value as possible with nothing in return. So adopting that mindset into your shows is so important.
Are you guys liking watching Jen Source right now? She does this. This is awesome. Somebody says, sophisticated said, I want a show where we watch Jen sort through the bins. With a
You got
popcorn
it. It's happening
emoji.
right now.
Lucy says, do you guys have do you guys do one-to-one Zoom coaching for new sellers like myself for a small fee? We'll probably set something up here in the future. We're trying to balance like 3 different things business wise right now. And so we will have something, and just come hang out with us right now. And maybe we'll do some co-hosting stuff. I will do like a Q&A coming up in the near future. Maybe I'll do them on Saturday when I'm staging, so we can show that. And then we can do like a co-hosting, and then you don't even have to. You can, if you're brave enough, you can come on and we'll do like a one-to-one coaching session in front of other
In
people.
front.
And it helps out other people as well. Question about y'all's setup: do you have just one phone or always have multiple devices? How do you connect the music? There's 2 devices. Well, there's 3 devices. So in her bin show, she does use an iPad so that she can run the show from her iPad. And then you guys have all been in shows where like the person has to keep coming up to the camera. That's totally fine. But eventually you want to get to the point that you do have another device so you can read everything off of another device. And then we have a computer that runs a monitor so that she can see her positioning of her clothes and what she looks like trying it on from a distance, and she can read the chat. So having multiple devices is helpful. And then she just runs the playlist off of a Alexa in the room, and then just position the speaker so that it's far enough away that people can hear it but doesn't overpower the voice. And this is just, again, going back through, if you guys watched her fancy finds from 2 weeks ago and then her last fancy find last Saturday, they looked different because we had to go in and redo the lighting. So you just do the best that you can on a single show, go review it, and then be like, man, I could do better on the audio, I could do better on the lighting, I could do better with how I show the items, whatever it is. So
Yeah, you got to remember that the first thing people see when they come into your show is your setup. Does it have like I went into a show and you literally couldn't even see her. The light casted a shadow over the camera and you literally could not see it. I immediately leave shows that don't have good lighting. So be mindful of what does the experience look like for your buyer.
yes. Miss Freebird says, I always ask what everyone is doing. Haha, I get crickets mostly. Y'all, my recommendation, if you guys don't use it, and I know there's a bunch of like opinions around it, like I would chat GPT. I would get on chat GPT and be like, give me some good questions to ask people for like engaging in the chat. Or here's some of the most powerful things, because this is human psychology, like 101. We are all hardwired for stories. So if you have some stories that are like set up that have to do with your items, you'll be surprised. Another thing is as well is you can run giveaways. Run giveaways to get people into your show. So one of the things that Jen and I talk about is having a sticky show. We want to have a show that's sticky, meaning like it's so sticky that you all remember, like, if I was born in 1981, so I remember TV shows came on at a certain time. This is before TiVo, right? And so you want your show to be so sticky that like you're like, oh my gosh, this show is on on Thursdays at 7 p.m. I'm not going to miss this thing. And so
Mhm.
that's something to like think about. How can you make your show sticky? Some of the ways that you can do that is storytelling. Look at your visual real estate in your show. See what your background looks like. Make sure it's not cluttered, but you can have pieces in there that draws people's attention in. Make sure that it goes in line with what it is that you're doing. But look for different ways and try it out. Again, we talk about being the scientist. You're just testing to see, like, how do I get people in there? Once you have people that stay in your show, then you can throw
Mhm.
some marketing behind that, doing some promo and whatnot. But do some giveaways, things like that. But if you're having
Mhm.
trouble staying in the show, go through and we're happy to do show audits, but go through and look at
Mhm.
your show, or look at like the music, look at um, your body language, and look at the lighting, the what is it? What
Tonality.
yeah, the tonality. Um,
Mhm.
don't look to, like Jen was just barely saying, don't look to get from the audience first. That's like looking in the mirror and being like, I'm not going to smile until the mirror smiles back at me. Like, you got to go
Mhm.
first.
Mhm.
Um, Very true. Okay, they don't respond most of the time. So y'all find some stuff that you feel like might be relatable, and tell a story. If you have people in your show, and they're staying, there's a reason that they're staying. So if people aren't responding, be like, no worries, let's go through and look at these items, and then get a really
Mhm.
good pace of just moving through and running items. Make sure you run your items. Don't wait for them to say run or pass. Just start running items. Just start going
Mhm.
through and then talking about if you have anything that you like about the items. Most of
Mhm.
you are in here because you're reselling, because you're treasure hunters. Like, you love finding treasure, and everyone else is also treasure hunters on your show. I'm like
Mhm.
the only one who's not a treasure hunter. I live in a
You're
world of
just a
treasure hunters.
treasure hunter in a
Mm.
different way.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a treasure hunter in a different way. So
Mhm.
go through and start talking about why you love this item and how you found the item, maybe an experience you had, whatever it is, and you'll be surprised. People will start tuning in. We are hardwired to love stories. If I start an
Mhm.
open loop, if I'm like, this one time when I was running a sales team at a contact center, and I start telling stories like that, I will leave an open loop. And if I don't finish out the story, your brain's like, wait, what happened though? Like, so I had an
Mhm.
agent tell me that price was the most important thing, and I had to come back and be like, no, that's not true. And I'll tell you about how I did that here in just a moment. But and then move on. Your brain now has an open loop, and you're like, wait, I want to hear the rest of the story. I need to see how this thing resolves. You guys can do that with your items and telling stories about your items.
Mhm.
Um, Guys, do you guys do one-to-one? Okay. All right, let me see where we're at right now. When it is a low view count, taking requests are typical better for me so I can cater to the viewers in the room. I could totally see that. Just be aware that when new viewers come in, thank you, Mary Jo. When new viewers come into your show, if you're still running requests for your other viewers, you're alienating your new ones. And here's the other thing that I'm going to kind of push back on.
Mhm.
At the end of the show, it's hard to go back and fix your process.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, because your process is running requests. Um, Thank you, Miss Freebird, for the coffee. Mary Jo purchased a playbook, baby. Um,
Yes, Mary Jo, I love you. I'm so glad you're here.
So just be aware that when you take requests, what happens is now you're reliant on that, and you become, it's like, it's kind of like, I played in a band for years, and it's kind of like playing like requests from the audience. And then the
Mhm.
audience is like, oh, you're a cover band. And you're like, no, we actually have a bunch of originals. And they're like, no, we don't want to hear your originals, because we've now
Mhm.
conditioned the audience. Whereas when we were like, we're playing our originals, this is how we run our show. This is how we do our
Mhm.
set, and we'll throw in some cover songs here and there, but we're an original band, so that we write all of our own stuff. And we have to let them know, like, that's how this is. So be aware, like, if you keep doing that, what's hard is you will end up being a cover band, and you will
And
only
then,
do other people's stuff, and then
yeah,
you don't know what's working and what doesn't work. And your audience, then you become reliant on that. So
yes,
just be
and
aware
you
of those.
don't want to do that. That's where low viewership comes from, because you're reliant on your audience to tell you what to do next. There's all this dead space. You want to capitalize the time. Capitalize the time that you have with them by running items. You're not going to make sales if you're like, so what sizes do you want? Like, what are you guys looking for?
Yeah.
No, capitalize on having a process, running items. Stephen and I get at least, I don't know, babe, like 5 to 10 comments a month saying on TikTok or on Instagram or on whatnot, people messaging, being like, I did what you said. I ran my rack in order and I did my best show ever.
And you're not a short order cook. You are a chef that is creating a multi-course meal. When you
Yep.
start to view it in that way of being like, I'm going to get really good at what my craft and what I do. Part of your craft is being able to curate a show and put the whole thing together like confidently. And so
Yep.
when you give the authority over to your audience, you become the short order cook and you're like, yeah, I'll make whatever you guys want me to make. The issue
Yep.
becomes is it's hard to break out of that, where later you're like, guys, I've decided I'm no longer taking requests. I've decided I'm going to do this thing. And the people that are like, no, I liked it better when you did it my way. Then all of a sudden, thank you, Gigi. Gigi purchased
Thank
a
you so
playbook,
much.
I believe. And
Yeah.
so when you take requests, understand that you're teaching your audience how to do things. It's like me asking my kids, like, what do you guys want to eat for dinner? If I do that every single night, then after a period of time when I'm like, this is what we're having for dinner, they're gonna be like, no, I don't want that. I want something else. I want to choose. And it's like, oh man, this is my fault. I conditioned you to do this thing. So
Oh, that's
uh
so
don't
accurate.
don't let them run your show. What the main goal for you to be like the ultimate live seller of you is for you to take your unique view, your unique style, your unique personality, everything. Somebody Lush Hussey says, I hear now but miss what you said about music. This goes right into it as well. It's you're not a DJ, you're not taking requests, okay? You are going to run your playlist how you like it. When you do that, when you show up as you and you set up your things the way you like it, Jen plays stuff. She'll play like worship music in her thing. She's playing like Forrest Frank. And if people are like, I'm not about Jesus, be like, that's fine. I am. So we're going to keep playing. We're going to be up here like listening to some Forrest Frank and some Brandon Lake or whatever it is. It's not about them necessarily. It's about you and how you show up uniquely as you. When you
Yep.
do that fully, then you're going to start seeing people come in and they stay. And even if you have 4 or 5 people on the show, like those are your people and that party will grow. Okay. So think of yourself as like a party host. Don't be giving the authority over to someone else. Don't be like, whatever music you guys want to listen to. Someone will be like, I'll take over your party. I'll throw a party in your house and you're going to have to clean it up. What kind of lighting would you suggest? Another ring light, etc. We we got really creative. If you guys are just starting out and you don't have a lighting system yet, if you guys have, so we had
Hey,
a
babe,
big.
they sell them separately now, just the light strips.
Mm,
They're on Amazon.
so we use magnetic LED light strips that allow us to hook it to our metal clothing racks because we have a bunch of metal clothing racks, and that way we can adjust the lighting in the room by like where we place the lights, because each room is a little bit different and you want to like eliminate as many shadows, make sure that the background and the forefront is like there's good lighting all around. So we have used ring lights, but we use like LED strips right now. But I've seen some ring lights that are really good, that are really bright. So just find what works for you, because each space is going to be a little bit different. But the main thing is get as much light as possible and make it so that when you show an item up close to the camera and when you show it in the back, that it looks the same so people can see the detail. Yep. Resale Goddess says it could partly be because viewers are doing other things and just listening.
Yep.
100%. 100%. People might be doing other things. They just can't respond. But if you start like, this is why I think it's so important for you to, especially at the beginning, load your store, be excited about your items, spend some time with your items, and then talk about these things, like have stories or how you would pair it. Because what you really want to do is you're talking and describing an item, and somebody gets up from across the room as they're making dinner and being like, I know my noodles are boiling over, but I got to see what she's talking about. Let me go look
They
at this.
don't
Oh my
walk,
gosh.
they
Yeah,
run.
they run. They they push one of their kids down, like, move out of the way. I got to see what she's talking about. This sounds amazing. Um, Thoughts on showing the rack? Oh, the Bin Ninja says, good morning. Love you guys are doing the community chats again. Thanks.
Mhm.
We're happy to be here. I am going to have to get off because I'm going to have to drive home. Um, Thoughts on showing the rack of inventory on screen and live versus not? I think, again, you're the chef. It's your ingredients. It's your restaurant. You set it up how you like. I think there's value in having no distraction. So in Jen's live fancy fine shows, she has no other items that are on screen, just
Mhm.
the items she's showing. I think there's value in that. However, we used to have our entire rack up, and we would
Mhm.
intentionally put pieces where Jen wouldn't be blocking it, and pieces that we knew had like certain colors, pattern, details
Mhm.
that people are like, I'm waiting to see what that piece is. So you can
Mhm.
use pieces as like your window pieces. So play
Mhm.
around with it, see what works for you. We use an absolutely like really plain background for fancy finds intentionally so that only want the attention is on only one item. But when we
Mhm.
ran like racks of clothes that were like volume, we would intentionally set up items. So use
The
your real
difference
estate.
the difference is I have a loaded store for fancy finds and I want people to pre-bid. So I want people to go into my store and look at what I have. If I have my rack, it takes away all the novelty. So I want them to utilize the bin or the my store to be able to know what I am selling. But if I have it all on a rack, it defeats the purpose of what I'm trying to do. So be aware of like what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to get pre-bids? Are you doing mystery pulls? I did showed my whole rack in my background when I did mystery pulls because I wanted to entice people to stay to watch because they didn't have anything visually to go off of other than what was on the rack. Babe, you can
Cheech,
drive.
yeah, I won't be able to read comments.
That's okay.
Maybe I'll have you read
Yeah,
comments and I'll just ramble.
totally. Because my
Okay.
cart is getting there.
Okay. Gigi says my husband and I just started selling together. I'm loving you guys. That's awesome. Another thing I want to say to that, Gigi, as well, is part of your show. If you and your husband like each other, which is pretty likely since you guys got married, um, I if you guys have really good like chemistry, like
Mhm,
that can bring people in and keep things entertaining as well. Or if you guys have a friend that you have really good chemistry with and it's fun to watch and it's in like here's the thing. I have seen shows where it is a husband and a wife and they kind
mhm,
of bicker and like kind of
mhm.
pick at each other and kind of put
And
each other,
belittle.
yeah, and belittle, and we
Mhm,
don't play like that. So
mhm,
I don't like those type of shows. I'm sure there's people that do, but you can
mhm,
use the chemistry of you and someone else to put on a show where, I'm not saying like to stage stuff, be like, okay, and then you're gonna say this. What I'm saying is though, is if you guys have really good chemistry, or if you have a friend that's in live selling as well, and you guys have that, the friends that you have where you just get together and you're laughing and cracking jokes all the time. If you have one of
mhm,
those in live selling, that might be a good opportunity for you to partner up. So
mhm.
that's something to consider. Um, oh, I'm definitely a chef. Yes. Bella Bohemian Vintage said, all right, I'm going to drive y'all. I'm sure. So yeah, do you guys have any questions about
Yeah,
anything or anything that's on your mind? We can just freestyle right now.
yeah.
Hmm.
I use the light strips from my old light box that I used to use for eBay listings, and we just removed them from the light box. But I did see on Amazon like 2 days ago that you can buy the light strips. I like my lighting to be very bright. I want my audience to be able to see the detail. Stephen and Jesse will come into my studio and be like, "What? This is so bright." I'm like, "The brighter, the better."
I'm
I
applying
love
sunscreen.
it. So making sure that there's no shadows, you want to have your buyers be able to see what it is that you have for sale in great detail. Thank you. So I like to have really good lighting. The music, I use just an Echo Dot. And sometimes it is tricky to kind of get the right volume, but once you do, it's really wonderful. Music for me is like what makes my whole show fun for me, because if you really think about it, thank you for the raid, Felicia. I love you. You guys, if you're not following Felicia, you need to. She's absolutely wonderful. She has super groovy, funky vintage, and she does low starts. So if you like more of like that clown core, really colorful, gorgeous vintage, go follow her. And she's just a breath of fresh air too. She's really kind, beautiful smile. And thank you for the raid. So my biggest recommendation is to truly go into your rehearsal mode and see what your show looks like for your audience, and then make adjustments to it. Sometimes I'll even set up a private show. So when you create your show poster, you just go in to the settings and you set it to private. And then once it's private, I share the link with Steven, and I will be like, how does this look? What does this look like? And he will essentially help me see what I can't see on like my tiny phone. So making sure the visual is there is so important. And the number one thing in live sales is to remember that you are trying to create a process and experience for you, so you can be efficient and more of you can show up, and for your buyer. So making sure you understand what you're doing before you go live is so important. So many people just hit the live button and they're like, ta-da! Do you want to buy my stuff? And they sound like an eBay listing. I love, Steven has this analogy of like, there are some sellers they share their closet. They're just sharing their Poshmark closet. LL Bean, vintage, size medium, cashmere. LL Bean, vintage, size medium, cashmere. You're like an SEO speaker. You're like an SEO speaker. Thank you so much, UTP. And you are not doing the due diligence to really tell people why you love the item. You picked it up for a reason. Every sorcerer, while I sound like I'm like saying like we're doing sorcery, like magic, and but like every thrifter who goes out and finds treasure, when you're looking at your items, be thinking of the qualities and aspects that you love about that item, so you can then share it in your show. So while I'm sourcing today, I'm already putting a mental log into my mind of what I'm going to say about each item. Like as I'm sourcing, it's a really good skill set to have, and it's really important because if you are just an eBay listing and you're just saying the color, the size, and the material, your audience is going to get bored and they're not going to want to stay. So making sure that you are doing your due diligence. Something that really helped me with sourcing and making sure I was picking up really good items is the idea of potency. So in stage selling, Russell Brunson, who sells from stage, he would do what is called value stacking. And he would put up on the screen all of the value that you're going to get and how much it was worth. Now, I kind of took a spin on this and applied it to sourcing. So when I'm sourcing, I want to have, right now, I'm at like 6 to 7 value stacks. But in the beginning, I wanted 3 to 4, meaning you want 3 really good, valuable talking points that you can have on your item. Okay? So if I find a beautiful silk blouse, that's value number 1. It's silk. It has colorful embroidery that's really unique. That's number 2. And It's a really good size small, size medium. That's three. That's three value stacks in one item. And when I do that, I progressively increase my value stack. So my shows are getting better and better and better. Now, if it's silk and just a good brand, I don't pick it up. Like, I need super intrigue for my fancy fine show. It better be a mid-lux brand. It better be cashmere or silk or linen or cotton. It better have incredible features, have a really cute style to aesthetic. Like, I'm thinking about multiple different things when I am sourcing for an item. So value stacking is really, really good. Blasian Bunny, the playbook is a digital copy. You will get a QR code with the playbook on it. You just take a picture and it will upload right to your phone. It's a PDF. You can save it right to your home screen so you can pull it up anytime. So the playbook is digital. We would love to do paper copies, but we know some people love it digital and some people love it printed, and we would rather just leave it up to the buyer to if they want to print the book or not. So we also have to be able to send you something physical since we're going to get a video receipt and it's going to process as an order. So we need to be able to send you something. And we do a sticker because it's super cheap shipping for you guys. And we can just print it on our thermal printer. So the playbook is going to go into the 5S model. Babe, why don't you just kind of summarize what the playbook is?
Yeah, the playbook is designed, there's 10 chapters. It's designed for you to remember it. It's not very, it's like 60 some odd pages.
Mm-hmm.
It's short on purpose, and it's designed by the chapter so that you remember concepts. So, for example, chapter 1 talks about the one systems model. It's a universal systems model. It's your input, your process, your output, and your feedback. I'm gonna talk about things that you're like, I don't know what you're saying. That's okay. Number 2, chapter 2 is the 2 target strategy. Chapter 3 is triple A's. It's how you stay accountable. You use your calendar and how you set up your environment. Chapter 4 is all on mindset. Chapter 5 is the 5S cycle. Chapter 6 is the 6-step sequence to superfan. Chapter 7 is the 7 signals for your business. It's all on numbers and how to understand your numbers. Chapter 8 has to do with what we call the roadmap, which is like kind of like your checkpoints for like, look, run a show with 50 items in it, and then working all the way up to being like you're doing like $1,000 a week in revenue. Now you're doing like $4,000 a week in revenue. Chapter 9 is about the commitment, the 9-month commitment to it, and then chapter 10 or chapter X has to do with the opportunity. I really dive into the difference between traditional and live selling. I will die on this hill. I do not believe that traditional sales and live sellers is a hybrid thing. I think you need to pick one. I think if you decide that you want to be a live seller, I'm not saying that you need to shut down your eBay store today or close your Poshmark closet today, but I am saying systematically moving over and getting ready to be at a point where you no longer have an eBay store or a Poshmark closet if you decide to be a live seller. I'm not saying that you should do it. Not live sales isn't for everyone, but if you have a strong desire to do live sales, then don't be on the fence and don't try to hybrid, because what hybrid sellers do is they're like, well, I'll keep this for my Etsy store and my eBay store because this is a good item and I want to make sure that I get enough. And then this stuff over here, I use Whatnot in order to get rid of my items that don't sell over here. It's just a way for me to do. And so it turns into this like odd strategy, and then you'd wonder why your live selling business isn't working. It's because you use live selling as a way to get rid of items, and your mindset in traditional sales is, my business is a product-based business. My business succeeds based off of the product that I have. In live sales, that's not the case. Your business succeeds. There are people on the app that have incredible inventory and they can't move it. They can't sell it. And then there are other people who on the app, they could sell all sorts of stuff. And so it's a skill set that you learn around live selling. And I believe that live selling gives way more opportunity for you to sell things that you couldn't sell on eBay. I think that there are items that Jen will pick up today that she would never pick up for eBay or Etsy because it just wouldn't translate. But let her and there are items that she picks up that she couldn't even sell in her bin show, but she would absolutely sell in her fancy find show because she can try it on. And so you have this opportunity in live sales that you can do things that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. Tell stories, try the item on, match it with other items, be able to show detail and that you wouldn't be able to do on an eBay listing. So use every single one of those things to your advantage. And remember this: people are not showing up because of your product; they show up because of how you make them feel. Okay. I'm going to pause for a moment, like digest that for a moment. It's the experience that they have that has people coming back again and again. Essentially, what it is how they feel. How does it feel? What's the vibe of it? I know some people like the shows where people are like, bid it up, chat, and like it's super like chaotic and like you better do it, urgency, urgency, FOMO, 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 you're gonna miss out, come on. And they like being belittled by the seller, I guess. I don't know. But uh, those shows, like it has an experience to it. So what all you're trying to do is cultivate and learn your experience that you're giving in your show. And that's why we talk about the superfan sequence, so that you understand that it's not just about your product. Yes, your product is a part of your shows. Yes, chefs need ingredients in order to cook, but we don't go to restaurants because they pick up the most quality ingredients. We go to restaurants and sit down because of the experience that we have there. It's not just the food, it's the experience overall. It's the ambiance, it's the settings, it's the location, it's
The
it's the
lighting.
music, it's the lighting, it's the noise, it's all the things, it's the service, it's how it's presented. It's obviously the quality and the taste of the food itself. And how does that food make us feel later? There are places we've eaten where like food was good, but I feel like garbage, so I'm probably not going back there. So I want you guys to think of your shows in the same way, and you're cultivating an experience. And here's the thing: that experience needs to happen consistently. So if you have a show and you give an amazing experience and you get first time buyers, it's important that your buyers know when they can find you again, because now they want more of that experience. And so keep that in mind. And remember, if you have low viewership, that's okay. I think that removing the stigma of like low viewership would be really important. Probably put like a piece of tape over the part that shows your viewers, and you just go live and you don't worry about what's going on. Like you show up, like you got to bring the energy of it first. You got to go first. And so, and all you're trying to do is cultivate an experience for people, and realize that even if people are staying in your show and they're even if they're not buying but they're staying in there, there's something about that experience that they're there for and that they're staying in there for. And so you just want to get better at doing that, providing that experience over and over. Like right now, you guys are, let me see how many people are in here. There's 26 people in here. For some people, they look at that like, man, that's a viewership in the show. Some people, they're like, that I would love to have 20 people in my show. I just want you to consider this. If you had 26 people in your house, you'd be like, this is a full-on house party. This is if you're doing a show and there's 4 people in there, like 4 people, that's not that many people. If there's 4 people in your kitchen, if you have 4 people in the house, like this is a little gathering going on here. Don't compare your viewership
But
to other
also,
people, and all you're looking to do is you're the party host, right? So create the party. You're gonna be the ambiance, and you're gonna run your show. make sure that all you're trying to do is create an experience is in an alignment with who you are. And then as you do that consistently, more people
But
show
if
up.
you
Most of
immediately,
y'all show up to Jen's
if
shows because of
yeah, if
her.
you automatically devalue the 3 people that are in your show, you're not going to value 20. So if you're not learning how to
Mm,
value 3 people in your show and make connections with them, you're not going to value 20 people.
mm,
So you need to
mm,
look at every person as a real person. They're real people. Learn about them, ask
yeah,
them, and if they don't answer, you answer your question.
that's fine.
You go first.
And keep showing up as you.
Yeah?
And I think of we love the band 21
Love
Pilots,
them.
and and they went from like playing in clubs, like small like bars and stuff, and over the course of 3 years went from that with nobody is showing up at their shows to playing in
Yep.
stadiums in the course of 3 years. And I think the thing that you need to remember is for low viewership, I don't care how many people are at my show. I'm going to deliver the very best performance with everything that I've got
Mm-hmm.
right now. Because if you wait until, well, I'm not going to like go all out until I have a lot of people on my show, you're
Then
not going
you're
to be
not
ready
going
to
to
do that.
have a lot of people in your show.
Yeah, it's never going to. So, like, it doesn't matter if one person is in your show, you're going to do your very, you're going to bring the energy and the experience that has people coming in for more. And so, instead of looking at viewership, here, because here's the truth of it, here's the truth, okay? Because we ran raid trains at one point, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
this is what, and we've raided into people before. So, Jen's dropped 60 people on somebody's show before. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and here's what we recognized: there is like a setting for each person of where your viewership, how many people you can hold in a show. And so,
Baseline.
yeah, you have a baseline and you will return back to that baseline. So, a lot of people are
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I have low viewership. And it's like, okay, well, you need to have a all out experience. How can you bring the best of you and bring that energy as if you have 6 people in your show, you bring the energy like you got 60 people in your show.
Mm-hmm.
And also your nervous system may not be even prepared for that,
Yep.
meaning you need to like build it up over time.
Mm-hmm.
So what do I mean by that? If you have 6 people in your show and somebody rated you with 60 people, do you change? All of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, does things change? Oh no, what do I do? And
Mm-hmm.
for example, if you're like, well, I like taking requests because I only have a few people on my show, so I take requests. I've talked to that. Well, what happens if you have 60 people in your show? You can't possibly take requests. Also,
Mm-hmm.
those shows, if you looked at people that always take requests and they're like, let me know if you guys want me to run it. Let me know if you want me to run it. Those shows very rarely have a lot of people in it. And the reason why is because there's only a few people that are like in control of the show. So it's like me. So I played in a band for years, and if we just only had our family and friends at our shows, like our family and friends know our music, so they're like yelling out stuff like, we want you to play this. If we catered to them, our shows
Mm-hmm.
never grew because we were
Mm-hmm.
only building our shows for our family and friends. And here's the funny thing: our family and friends, we wanted more people at our shows. We wanted new people at our shows. Our family and friends didn't want new people at our shows. They liked having a private band it was like, this is our favorite band and it's all for us. And we know them personally. If
Mm-hmm.
you run requests in your show, you're going to have family and friends shows, meaning
Mm-hmm.
they don't want your show to change. They're like, no, I like that you run
Mm-hmm.
around. You're like my personal shopper. And if all of a sudden you get a bunch of people in your show, then I don't have my personal shopper anymore. So those people don't want your shows to blow up. They want your
Mm-hmm.
shows to remain the same. Not
Mm-hmm.
because they're like not malintent. They're not trying to be mean. They just don't want things to change because you're their personal shopper. And so then you're like, I don't know why my shows aren't growing. I'm taking requests. Well, when you take requests, you are cultivating that thing, that
Mm-hmm.
experience, and that experience is only good for the few people that love coming in and being like, I want you to run this, I'll tell you if I'm going to pass or run on this thing. Instead, when you
Mm-hmm.
start developing your own show and stepping into your own, and taking the authority of your show, now people can
Mhm.
come in, new people can come in, and they understand what it is that you're doing. And here's the cool
Yep.
thing. Jen doesn't even have to tell people that she doesn't do requests if she doesn't want to. People will come in and be like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, I see run number 14." Her audience will be like, "Actually, she runs an order, so stick around. You're gonna love it." This is her audience becomes the advocate of it, and they
Mhm.
want to protect that experience. So
Mhm.
understand that the audience that you're building will protect the experience that they enjoy. Meaning, if you build an experience around requests, your audience will protect that, and you won't be able to get out of that. So you
Mhm.
have to go through these growing pains and a season where you're like, there's not as many people here, and
And
but that's okay.
you gotta, there are sellers on this app who started at the same time as me and who are still stuck in the friends and family show. They
Yeah,
literally can't move on because their friends and family, and I'm not saying like they're literal friends and family, I'm saying the people who show up to their shows over and over again dominate and control their show, and they
yeah.
cannot
It's
even
not the
step
seller
out of
show.
it because they don't have a skill set or a process to do so. And when they do try and step out of it, their friends are like, no, 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 that's not what we're
No,
doing
no. This is where we
here.
hang out.
Yeah, we chit
Mm-hmm.
chat. So you want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're doing shows that actually are creating an experience for everyone, not just the
Mm-hmm.
people that are super niche and close with you in a few shows.
Mm-hmm.
You
And once you
want
do
to,
that, and once you do that, once you have that experience that is built, that like people come in and you see that it's sticky because you
yeah.
run your process, now you can scale up your show. So what I mean by that is if you have like 12 people in your show,
Mm-hmm,
you're holding 12 to 15 people in a show, and new
mm-hmm,
people are coming in, and you're running your rack and order, you've taken the authority of your show,
mm-hmm,
you're doing it your way, you're not taking
mm-hmm,
requests, you have the authority of your show, then the experience, the buyer, number one, by the way, that's way for the buyer, that's way better
mm-hmm,
because they don't want to decide. That's why I say don't do varied starts. You're literally creating decision fatigue for your buyer. They have to do like, if you walked into a show and if I was like, hey guys, let's do some math in our head. What's 12
mm-hmm,
plus 5? 17, good job. What's 17 subtract 8? Yep, good job. 9. How long do you guys want to do head math for? Like this is you don't want to do that. That's what happens when you do like a varied
mm-hmm,
start in your shows. It's people are like, running at 12, but I'd probably pay 8. So that's $4 more than I want. Oh, this one, she's running at 18. I'll do 20. I'd go $2 above that. What you're doing is you're creating decision fatigue for your buyer,
mm-hmm,
meaning they are literally having to make a decision with every item that you put up.
mm-hmm,
When you start something off at like $5, $10, $7, doesn't matter what it is, but it's the same price every single time, they already know. So no longer is price the thing that they're looking
mm-hmm.
at and the reason that they're going to
Yep.
purchase. They're doing it based off of the item where they're
Mm-hmm,
like, ooh, now they're just doing like, I'd pay $1 more than that. 7, I'll do 8. 9, I'll do 10. Now it becomes, now you're getting that bidding velocity.
mm-hmm.
So that varied start is, I think it's a killer.
It's
I think I
totally.
will,
I also
yeah, it will
think
kill your
that,
shows and you kill the velocity.
yep, I also think that you need to remember that your goal is to get repeat buyers. And if every
Hmm.
time they think of your show, they're not immediately like, I can afford it, it's always a $5 start, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to get more.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
have to be like, oh, I wonder what items they have. They immediately go to product.
Or in my
They
price range. Yeah.
exactly. So, do you have an SD card? I don't know what you mean by that. And killed the vibe. Yes. Wait, so run everything at the same price. Yes. Do
Yeah.
everything at the same starting price. Because what you do is what my husband just said is you create decision fatigue. It's harder for you to get repeat buyers if they're constantly looking for a way to do math in their head. They're not going to want to keep coming back. People come to my show because they know at my Fancy Pies it's a $1 start. At my bin show it's a $5 start. At my kid show it's a $3 start. You can vary starts between show to show But being able to be like, it's all $5, your customer loves that because there's no
Hmm.
guesswork. They don't have to make decisions, and
And
you're
it's
gonna get
exciting.
people to bid. Yeah, exactly. People want to go to a show where people are bidding stuff up.
Hmm.
They don't want to go to a show where people are buying, but it's like a $28 item, and then it's a $38 item, and then it's a $42. Like, people want to go to a show where there's some activity.
Hmm.
It's a show. Whatnot is entertainment. Be entertaining. Um,
And go look at these
oh,
shows. Oh, go ahead.
Bree
I'm not.
says, I'm living proof that all of this works. Bree started coaching with us, I don't even remember, like 2 years ago. And she has developed the philosophy and the business models that we taught her and fully embraced it. Fully embraced it. And her business is booming. She's at 14,000 sales. She has super fans. People go into Bree's show. She's your girl thrift. She sources here with me at the Goodwill Outlet. She's my best friend. She's so funny, like so beautiful. You guys will love her. If you haven't gone to her show, go to her show. She runs in order. Everything's the same start price. And she does a finale. So she'll build a crescendo in her show. And at the end, it's all of her bangers. And she
Hmm.
makes a good like 60% of her profit in that small amount of window.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Ruse, Jen, we will cover shipping in another live. It's too expensive for this one, but we do have a shipping breakdown video that we could possibly put on a QR code, babe, and then ship that as well. Thank you for your
I think we
encouragement.
do like a.
Plan to have my first show next week with clearing my closet and kids. I already have thrifted items for my second show also. I love it, Lucy. Make sure your wording doesn't say closet clear out or like like a clear out sale. ChatGPT it, make it so that people aren't like, oh, this is all of her stuff that didn't sell, or this is all of the stuff that she didn't want. Put in your title something that ChatGPT it and create a show poster that entices people to come in, and it's not a closet clear out. Because what happens, that will set the tone for your live. People will come in and they'll be
Hmm.
like, I'm only going to bid a certain amount because it's a clear out. I'm expecting of you. So just be aware of that.
Hmm.
I love you, Breen. I
Yeah.
just
It's
started.
looking at items at the what?
Mhm. I just started watching you, and I
I was
love
gonna
how.
say. Look.
Go ahead.
Sorry, baby. Go
I think you're on a delay,
ahead.
babe.
It's like if you see things in the clearance. If you're at Walmart and there's a clearance section, you're automatically like, oh, this is stuff that nobody bought.
Right.
So when you do a clearance, you automatically put into the mindset of people like, oh, this stuff is like nobody wants this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So I'm not going to pay up for it.
Exactly.
It's a fun thing to do. Like I can assure you that if Jen had two identical shows and she ran one as like a clearance show and then she ran one, it would be a different experience. She could sell one like for much more revenue than the other one based off of how it's presented.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is important how you talk about your items, because you can build in the value for items.
Mm-hmm.
There are items that Jen has sold before, not even intentionally, but is like, oh, I did the retail on this and this thing retails for half of the price
Mm-hmm.
than what it sold for, but it's not because of anything other than how it was presented. So
Yep.
make sure that your items, like I remember, if Jen sat on items for too long, like she wouldn't be able to sell them because she wasn't excited about them.
Yep.
And she'd be like, I'm not really excited about this show. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, why? She's like, I'm just not excited about these items. I'm like, these are great items though. She's like, yeah, but I'm not excited. And sure enough, those shows that she's like, I'm not excited about these items. So build a show that you're excited about.
Yep.
Um,
And
and
don't be
and then when
afraid
you
to
do
donate.
shows,
Don't be afraid to donate.
yeah,
Donate it. If you're not
guys,
excited
there's
about
so
it,
many clothes out
yeah,
there. There's so many items.
donate it. If you're not
There's so
having,
much.
yeah, like literally, don't do a show that doesn't excite you. If you're showing the same items over and over again and it's not exciting for you, people can feel that. because then you're just in money mode. You're just like, someone please buy this, take it off my hands. I don't want it anymore. Just go donate it.
Mm.
Take it to Goodwill, get a 20% off coupon, and it reinvest back into your business.
Mm.
Do you guys
And y'all,
have any questions? Yeah, do it, babe.
I do want to address one thing.
Okay.
Y'all, for those of you that are like, you don't understand, my items are so good, I'm going to hold on to these, or I have so many items. Like, I just want you to know that the cost of the item itself is not just money.
Mhm.
Those items are costing you in your mental, emotional, and even physical space.
Mhm.
And that has an effect on you and the flow of your business.
Yep.
What do I mean by that? If you guys are sitting on thousands of items and you're like, I'm not willing to donate these things, or if you're like, I, these things are like, I can't just let these things go. Just so you know, you're holding on to items that it's like creating a dam in a river. It is
Yep.
preventing the flow of currency to come to you. Just
Yep.
so you know, the
Mhm.
more stuff the more inventory that you are sitting on, your brain subconsciously knows that it's going to have to do something with that, or once you die somebody else is going to have to take care of that stuff.
Mhm.
If that is something that you're like, I don't know what to do about this, you're going to have to emotionally detach from that. Okay.
Yep.
And if you're like, well, you don't understand, these items are so good, there's so
Says
much
who?
clothes out there. There are
Says
so many
who?
clothes out there. If you got
Mhm.
rid of all of your inventory today, there's going to be more that comes in. I promise
Mhm.
you, you will never
Yep.
run out of inventory. There's so much inventory. Don't hoard inventory, because what you do is you create a dam in your business and your
Yep.
business can't flow. And it's not just the storage space, mentally and emotionally, it is holding you back.
Yep.
You don't own those clothes or those items, they own you.
Yep.
And it's holding your business back.
Yep.
So I can't tell you how freeing it is now.
Sorry, guys. He's driving. We live in like a super spotty area. But essentially, what he is saying is it's taking up brain power in your mind, and you don't have enough RAM to hold everything. So if you have a death pile, detach from what you think those items are worth and run them. Babe, you cut out. You got to do that whole thing again.
Okay. Y'all, the items that you're holding on to is holding up your business. So go through your items and have a plan as if you're moving into live selling. If you're like, I want to be a live seller, understand live sellers don't hold inventory. The whole idea of like,
Mhm.
well, it's good to hold on to stuff for a rainy day. No, it's not. I promise you it's not. It,
Mhm.
th- you know, get rid of items. It will clear up the space to allow for way more to come in. There's
Mhm.
no items that we hold on to.
Mhm.
We don't have it. If it doesn't sell, it gets donated. It gets
Yep.
donated. We don't hold on to it for the next show. Now, at
Mhm.
first, when you're doing market testing, yeah, it's okay. Run it for a few shows, see what happens. But after a few
Mhm.
shows, if no one's buying it, don't set it aside. It's not going to
Mhm.
appreciate in value. Now, if you're like,
Mhm.
well, I think a lot of they go to the extreme sometimes when I say this stuff. And they're like, so you're saying like my Michael Jordan rookie card that's signed, like I should just, no, I'm not saying that. If you don't have the audience in front of you, but you need to be really
Mhm.
honest about your items. I
Mhm.
think so much we take the value and put it into the items as if the items themselves
Mhm.
are more valuable than us and more
Mhm.
valuable than our buyers. Like you
Yep.
guys have been in shows before where you're like, okay, guys, I have this next item. I wasn't even going to show you guys this, but here's the item. I will start this off at, guys, I can't do anything less than $38.
Mhm.
This is what it sounds like to the buyer. Guys, my items are better than you. This
Mhm.
item that I have is more important to me than my relationship with you. This
Mhm.
item is more valuable than you, and I value this thing more than you. You might as well
Mhm.
just say that to your audience.
Yep.
When you value your items more than the relationship with the buyer, you congratulations. That is your business.
Mhm.
Your inventory, whatever you price it at, is the max that you will ever get out of your business.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you reached the peak of your business. When you switch it up and you are able to truly let items go and let it go for like, holy cow, that thing went for $5 and it doesn't affect you emotionally, like your nervous system doesn't have any sort of response to that, watch what happens to your business. Your
Mm-hmm.
business and your viewership will grow. The
Yeah.
scarcity mentality will hold back your business when you believe that there aren't any more items. Your items are so valuable, you couldn't possibly let them go. And if I do let them go, where am I going to get more inventory?
Yep.
That idea is the thing that holds your business back.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are in, most likely you're, if you're listening to this, you're in the US. Even if you're in small town USA, there are
Mm-hmm.
items around, so many items around you in your small town, you couldn't
Mm-hmm.
possibly keep up with it. So for
Mm-hmm.
those of you that are holding on to death piles, those death piles are killing you. Move your
Mm-hmm.
items, move it out of your house, get rid of them. You need to either be like, I'm selling
Mm-hmm.
these things after I've run it for a few
For
shows, I'm
$1.
running it for $1, and I'm going to do my best to sell it for as much as I can through my process and creating a positive experience for people, and do that again and again and get rid of all of your items and watch more items are going to
Mm-hmm.
come in. You're going to be a much better treasure hunter. Remember, you guys, we're not treasure hoarders. Okay, that's not your
Yeah.
job. You're not burying treasure and marking it with an X. Okay, that's not what a treasure
Mm-hmm.
hunter. You're getting treasure and then you're going and selling that treasure. Don't get caught up
Yep.
in one part of the process. You got to move your items. I don't know who
Yep.
this is for. I'm very adamant about this thing right now, but I think that there are a lot of people out there who are like, you don't understand. My inventory is the best. You don't understand. I get it. For most people that nope, I'm talking to you. For those of you that are like, you don't understand. My inventory is so awesome. I bet you I can find your inventory on eBay. I bet you that the stuff that you're holding on to is holding back your business. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can condition your nervous system to let go of items. And when a Johnny Was sells for $5, you don't even flinch. You're like, sounds good to me. Congratulations on your first purchase. Be sure to bookmark my next shows because you can get Johnny Was here for $5 and you're excited for them. As soon as you are
Yeah.
more excited for the buyer because they got a stellar deal, than you
Mm-hmm.
being like, oh, probably could have sold that for $50 on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
You should be a traditional reseller. If you cannot move past that, do not do live sales because
Mm-hmm.
it's going to show all over your face and it sucks for the buyer. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks to feel like you bought something and the person that you bought it from, the seller is like, oh man, you pretty much are stealing from me because I could have sold
Yeah.
that for more. Get out of live sales if you can't move past that because it sucks for the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
remember, you're creating an experience for the buyer. When that buyer receives that item in the mail and they open it up, they're going to relive the experience they had in the show when they purchased it. And they're going to
Mm-hmm.
be like, that sucked. I got a
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Was for $5 and they made me feel bad as if
Yeah.
like I took from them. Nobody wants to feel like a thief when they're like, I just gave you money and I
Mm-hmm.
bid on it and you started it at that. And then to
Mm-hmm.
feel bad, like you're not going to guilt people into being in a relationship with you. And
Mm-hmm.
so something to keep in mind is like, the buyer is going to re-experience what happened in the show when they open up the package. And then they'll
Mm-hmm.
come back to the show if they had a good experience. And when you do that,
Yep.
they'll come back again and again. And y'all, there's so much inventory out there. And the
Yeah.
inventory is not your asset. You and your skill set are the asset. Rant
Yep.
over. Sorry, rant over. I shouldn't
So
apologize.
so many
Rant over.
people come. If you guys come to my show is at 3:45 Mountain Standard Time today. I'm live from the Vince, and watch how many people come in who say, "I'm opening your package right now. I can't even begin to tell you how much I love every item." And some of those people got those items for $5, for $1. But if you are doing a show and at the end of each show, you're not excited about your new buyer count, you're doing it wrong. Like you need to be
There's more
just
where
as
that came from.
excited. Yep.
Have a
Yep.
mantra in your head if you need to of every time something
Mhm.
sells and you didn't go, there's more of where that came from. Reframe
Mhm.
it in your head. Look at the items that you go through your house. it is fall clear out. Like it is fall
Yep.
clean out. Like go through your items and y'all move items. And
Yep.
for those of you that are sitting on them on a bunch of items, great. You just invested into your business. So go through
Yep.
those items and really some of them in your heart of hearts, it is not a great item.
Mhm.
It's a commodity. It's everywhere. Um,
Yep.
don't hold on to it because it'll hold back your business. Just donate it. Go get a
Mhm.
20% off at the Goodwill. Move on. Um,
Mhm.
some of the items you're like, I don't know. Great. That's your market testing. Some of your items
Mhm.
like these are good items, and I don't want to just let this go for nothing. And I'm not saying to do that. What I
Mhm.
am saying is build up into that. Um, and so if you have stuff you're like, no, these are like rare, one of a kind items. I can't just let this go. I'm not telling you to do a $5 start to 5 people in your show. Okay.
Mhm.
We have done that before. It's not the best way to do it because you don't want to
Mhm.
feel like you're losing. What I am saying is you want to move in that direction. Don't let those items um, don't let items hold you up. Go through,
Mhm.
pull out all of your inventory, do an audit. For those of you that have like a lot of listings, you will be
Mhm.
absolutely shocked at, especially if you're using a cross lister. You're like, I sell
Mhm.
on eBay, Poshmark, and Etsy, and Depop. I sell on all of them.
Mhm.
Go through and audit all of your stuff. You will be
Mhm.
surprised at how much of your stuff that you're storing isn't even listed. Somehow it got deleted. It's not sitting on any platform. Go through and audit all of your inventory. When you
Yep.
do this, um, as you go through it, just understand there's more where that came from. There's more
Yep.
than where that came from. Get into that
Mhm.
abundance mindset of just like, there is so much inventory. I couldn't possibly ever run out of inventory. Sourcing
Mhm.
is never the issue.
Yep.
Okay. There's plenty of opportunity out there. I promise you. If you're like, I don't
Mhm.
believe you, you can source on Whatnot. You can go on Whatnot and source, but
Mhm.
don't source in a way of being like, oh, so if I have a large inventory, if I have a bunch of stuff, then that's the value. The value is in you. You are the asset. I cannot repeat that enough. The asset. Here's the thing, y'all. If Jen decides that she no longer wants to resell, I'm out of the game, y'all. I'm out. I don't have that. Jen is the asset of the business. Her personality, her skill set, the amount of experience that she has is the asset of the business. If we are sitting on thousands of items Jen has sourced and then she decides to get out of the game, which we don't, by the way, we don't hold on to any inventory.
Mhm.
If all of a sudden, I was like, I'm sitting on all this inventory, I'm not selling it. I would literally donate a single bit of it. Why?
Mhm.
Because the inventory is not the asset.
Mhm.
She is the asset of the business.
Mhm.
It is her relationship with the buyer that is the asset of the business. I want
Mhm.
you to look at your stuff at the same way. There's not a single item that you own that is more valuable than you. There,
Mhm.
I don't care what you have. I don't care if it is a one of a kind Chanel piece that I don't care what it is. It's not more valuable than you. There's not one single item that is more valuable than you. And you need
Mhm.
to realize that. And you need to go through your inventory and look at it from that position. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
the quality ingredients that you have. It is the chef who puts it together that that is the value of the business. So go as you guys
Mhm.
go through your inventory and look through this stuff, I want you guys to take the creative view of this that you are the asset of the business and how you put it together and the stories you tell and your life experience is what creates the experience that people will come back to again and again and again. And when you really
Mhm.
tap into this, the abundance of items it's
It's
unreal. It is
insane.
absolutely
Yeah.
it's insane. And
Mhm.
I promise you, when you guys free up the stuff in your home and you free up all the things in your and you clear this stuff out, it's all stuck energy. It's
Mhm.
like you're damming up the flow of your life by holding on to stuff. So
Mhm.
go through and start getting rid of things. If
Yep.
you don't do Marie Kondo style, if it doesn't spark joy in you, like it's got to go.
Get
And
rid
when
of
you
it.
do this,
Are you
watch
fitting?
what
I don't
happens
know.
to your business.
Nice.
Okay?
No?
So I hope that
I love
helps.
that song.
I'm arriving
Sorry.
home.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna go hang out with the little ones
Yeah, you guys can come to my
at
show.
common time.
You guys, thank you
So
so
I hope this is
much.
helpful to y'all.
hmm You're so welcome. Do you need to register as
So
an LLC? I would recommend talking to someone who's a business expert in that. We don't have expertise in that. But you
I
guys,
will,
thank
here's
you
what
so
I'll say real
much.
quick on that.
Okay, okay,
Sorry, real quick, baby. I will say this.
you're good.
As far as registering as an LLC, yes, there are massive advantages to running your business as an LLC instead of a sole proprietor. Um, if you make more than $50,000 a year in revenue, you're going to want to probably register as an S corp. But do your own research, work with a CPA. I highly recommend having an entity because of all the write-offs that you can get.
hmm
And another really beneficial thing as well is when you realize that your business is something that you can work on and work in, and
hmm
that you have a separation between you and your business. It also, you're like it's like having a garden,
hmm
so like it's separate than you, and you can cultivate it and make it something. So yes, but I think it's like 50, once you reach like $50,000 a year, that's at the point where you register as an S corp, and you don't get the 15.4% FICA tax, the self-employment tax type thing.
hmm
But you guys got to do your due diligence on that. I'm not an attorney or a CPA, so make sure to do your due diligence on that.
hmm We love you guys. We're gonna do this again tomorrow, so you can go bookmark. You're so welcome. I love it. So she's new to us and she's a super fan. But I will be live, you guys, at 3:45 Mountain Standard Time. I love you all. We thank you so much for all the purchases, the coffees, the tips, and we will see you guys later today, in my life. Let's read someone. Why are you laughing? All right, let's
Because I love
create a
you.
raid. Good, you should. All right, since I'm a vintage
I
seller,
do.
we're gonna go to Betty Jo. Okay, she's so wonderful. Me too, girl. I'm at like 30%. Luckily, I have a charger. I love you guys. You guys will love Betty Jo. She's so wonderful. And I'll see you later today.